Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Global Lifespan Lottery. Only I can designate the rewards. Chapter 61. The title of the hot post is directly. Silver Frost Club responded. Huang Xin did not use the name change card. This kind of unsubstantiated response is generally not very convincing. Are you saying that the name change card is useless if you don't use it? Then I also said that the fairy sister is my wife. But Wailing Shuang is quite smart. The content of her post is not just a response. Instead, he proposed a more acceptable idea. Zhang Yi, who landed first on both lists. They are probably players from other areas. As soon as this hypothesis came out, the chat channel was in an uproar. Other areas. I can accept this statement. If players from other areas can really come to our area, then it seems reasonable to jump in line and be listed. And those who can run to other areas at this stage must be absolutely strong. It is normal to be ranked first on the double list. But having said that, how do current players go to other areas? I went to Zhongcheng from Haicheng to study in college, and my family is all in Haicheng. I am not a native of Zhongcheng either. My home is in Sichuan City. I miss my parents so much and want to go home. Even if we can't cross regions, when can we merge the regional chat channels? I really want to know what is going on with my family now, and I don't know if they are still alive. Wow, I cried. JPG. Can you please stop continuing this topic? I can't stop crying. QAQ. As for the idea proposed in Wailing Shuang's post, the vast majority of players can still accept it. This, Zhang Yi, situation is indeed a case of jumping in line to be listed. So the greatest possibility, it is indeed players from other regions who have come to Zhongcheng. It's this, cross-regional, topic. Inexplicably, it evokes the temptation to go home, among many players. Gradually, players continued to appeal in the chat channel, hoping that Zhang Yi could take the initiative to share some of his cross-regional strategies. At least let the foreign players in Zhongcheng know the difficulty of cross-region, so that they can have something to look forward to. Immediately afterwards, even the four major guilds and other top forces began to openly extend an olive branch to Zhang Yi. On the one hand, they hoped to recruit this top powerhouse from other districts. On the other hand, I also hope that this Zhang Yi can take the initiative to share some cross-regional information. However, Zhang Yi is not a player from other areas at all. Even if he did know how to cross districts, it would be impossible for him to share his kindness actively. He was actually quite puzzled. Why was it that after I reached level 10, I was immediately dropped to the top of the level list? Because of the previous suppression of the bloodline of birds and beasts. Zhang Yi had a guess. He had heard in his previous life that the essence of upgrade was the improvement of life level. Then the essence of the ranking list should be the same. That is to say, with all attributes reaching the upper limit of level 10, his life level is higher than other players. It seems like this is the only explanation that makes sense. Anyway, no matter what the reason, the reward has been received. Zhang Yi felt no burden and quickly turned his attention to the two special turntables he had just obtained. The special turntable is different from the 7 grades of ordinary turntables: white, green, blue, purple, orange, red and gold. Its appearance looks more mysterious black. The options on it are a strange blood-colored text. This turntable, from its appearance, gives people an extremely ominous feeling. In fact, the special turntable is indeed ominous, because there will be a fixed option on all special dial. Forced erasure, and the proportion of this option is fixed at 10%. There is no way to exclude this option using any props. The probability of this option is not affected by any blessing effects. In other words, when players use special turntables, they must bear 10% probability of death. Moreover, there is another mandatory rule for the special turntable. No matter what is drawn, it will be directly bound to the lottery winner instantly. In other words, even if you take out the item, you don't have to worry about it being snatched away by others. But similarly, it is impossible for you to want others to draw a special wheel and then kill people and grab treasures yourself. All players who want special spinner options, you can only rely on yourself to gamble your life and win the lottery. The so-called life betting lottery on ordinary turntables only bets on lifespan. The life betting lottery on the special carousel is a real life betting. The probability of 1 in 10 does not seem high. But according to strict probability theory, if you draw 10 times, there will be one wipe. Therefore, even the top experts in previous lives rarely drew the special wheel more than 10 times. Let alone 10 times, anyone who dares to smoke 5 times is already at the limit. After all, the more successful a person is, the more he fears death than a loser. As for the special wheel that allows the most life-loving person to risk his life for the lottery, the special options it has are naturally quite tempting. For example, players may have dual careers due to the special options drawn. For another example, players who draw special options may gain new player functions. For another example, some special options may be quite high-end rule props. For example, Zhang Yi remembered. In the previous life, when the Doomsday Game was going on for more than a year, a world-class expert named Lu Li suddenly posted a message on the forum. According to Lu Li, he pulled out a special prop called City of 10,000 Races Pass from the special turntable. He passed the pass and went to the City of All Races. After seeing the City of All Races, the boss said without hesitation, "In the human race, he can indeed be regarded as a superior, one of the best in the world." But when he arrived in the City of All Races, he discovered that he was just a country bumpkin who knew nothing. The human race is like an insignificant speck of dust among all races. It was also from that time that various bases that had gradually developed formed a human alliance in a short period of time. Under the advocacy of the human alliance, the human race began to reduce unnecessary internal fighting and focus on improving the strength of the race and resisting foreign races. After that, there should have been other strong players who have been to the City of 10,000 Races. But Zhang Yi was not included. And this life, Zhang Yi hopes to see the City of All Races. However, the City of 10,000 Races Pass also requires use level greater than 10. In other words, you have to wait until you change jobs. Furthermore, there is no option for City of 10,000 Races Pass on the 2 special turntables in his hand. Except for the erase option, there are only 9 options left on the special wheel. But not all 9 options are special options. Generally, there are only 1 to 3 special options that will appear. The remaining 6 to 8 are still ordinary options, such as ferocious beasts and immortality pills. On the 2 special turntables owned by Zhang Yi, there are only 4 special options in total. They are Wishing Card, Beast's Lair, Attendant Card, Identity Card. Looking at these 4 options, Zhang Yi's eyes went straight and his scalp went numb. Of course, what made his adrenaline surge and his scalp tingle was actually only 2 options. First of all, the special option of Wishing Card is directly removed by pass. Because of its effect, this is to allow players to draw the options they want during the wheel draw. Yes, this ability, it's just the same as Zhang Yi's ability during the lottery. However, his ability to designate rewards can be applied repeatedly to all reels. The Wishing Card is a one-time item and will be discarded after one use. But even if it can only be used once, this item is already quite incredible for ordinary players. It's a pity that Zhang Yi is not an ordinary player. This Wishing Card is useless to him. The other option on the same special turntable as the Wishing Card is what excites Zhang Yi. The Beast's Lair. Zhang Yi also saw this term from the forum in his previous life. In the previous life, there was a quite sensational auction robbery at Tianxin Base. Generally, there are strong people in charge of the auction house, and some space restrictions will be specially set up. This makes players unable to use space props such as teleportation stones at the auction venue. But in that robbery case, a strong man disappeared in full view of the public after snatching the precious auction items. Later, when this news was circulated to the forum for discussion, some big players popularized it. The robber used the Beast's Lair. The ferocious Beast's Lair is a lair space that belongs entirely to the bound one. In that kind of lair space, there are some special orcs who are born there. As for other races, only by drawing this special option can they get a lair that belongs entirely to them. Of course, to the orcs, it is called a lair. In human terms, a more appropriate name can also be called home. When players choose to go home at any location, they are not using spatial abilities. It is a rule ability similar to player functions. That's why the space restriction in the auction house did not take effect on that strong man. However, the use of the lair space is the same as that of the shadow of nothingness. No matter which lair the player came from, he or she will still be there when he came out, and his position will not change. So after the strong man in the previous life snatched the precious auction item, he hid in the lair space and never came out again. Anyway, at least when Zhang Yi died in his previous life, he didn't hear the news that the strong man came out of the lair space and was arrested. That guy is obviously a ruthless person as well. As for what kind of precious auction it is, Go Dalyu players are willing to take risks. Zhang Yi is unknown. No news came out in the previous life. But I can imagine that it must be a very incredible prop. And the ferocious beast's lair option that is suitable for Go Dalyu players to survive is obviously also very suitable for Zhang Yi. With this thing, he won't have to spend an extra 10 years to draw the shadow of nothingness if he draws like crazy in the future. And anytime in the future you want to lie down, you can hide in the beast's lair and give it a good fight. If other players remain in the ferocious beast's lair, they may gradually decline and not be able to keep up with the strong ones. But Zhang Yi can't. He can quickly become stronger just by lying down. Therefore, not to mention that the wishing card is useless to him. Even if it is a special option with a very good effect, he will most likely choose the beast's lair. This thing is simply tailor-made for him. Without hesitation, Zhang Yi pressed his palm on the special turntable. Following the prompt, he silently thought, I choose 6, the beast's lair. At the same time, there is no prompt sound from the turntable for this special lottery. Instead, an announcement about the Doomsday game sounded directly in his mind. Ding! Congratulations on taking out the beast's lair. Do you want to bind it? Whether, hey, you can choose whether to bind or not. Since Zhang Yi chose to take it out, of course it had to be bound. He said without hesitation, yes. Binding the human lair for you. Bite. Binding successful. This binding process made Zhang Yi realize more clearly. This ferocious beast's lair seems to be not only an alien space, but also a complete player function. Sure enough, when his consciousness sank into his mind, he discovered that his player function had an extra, human nest. At the same time, he also had a special feeling in his mind. Zhang Yi had a thought in his mind. The next second. Then the whole person appeared in another dimension. Forehead. This lair space looks like just a dark cave. The entire cave is only about 5 square feet in size. Empty. Nothing. Most of the arc surfaces are made of unknown material and are gray rock walls. And a place similar to the entrance of a cave was completely dark, as if there were some restrictions set up, and it was difficult to see what was outside. Zhang Yi thought for a moment and then groped for the dark restricted entrance. His hand seemed to touch something like a barrier. At the same time, a reminder sounded in my mind. The current lair level is insufficient. Nest level. This means that if he increases the level of his lair, can you break the entrance barrier and get out of this lair? But what will happen after you get out? Is it simply to expand the scope of his territory? Or breaking into a special space? Zhang Yi is quite curious, but he doesn't know yet how to upgrade the lair space. Maybe you need to upgrade through lottery. Or some special orcs who are born with lairs have ways to upgrade their lairs. Zhang Yi didn't hesitate too much, so he explored the small cave space again. Overall, he is quite satisfied with this lair. Although the space in this lair is small, it is his private space after all. If there was no pressure to change jobs, he could even live forever in this lair space. Unfortunately, now, not only is the issue of job transfer stuck in level, he also doesn't have much time coins to continue acquiring carousels. Zhang Yi's attention was focused on another special turntable. The two options above, attendant card and identity card. The effect of the attendant card is to obtain an absolutely loyal attendant. For example, Yu Shui is most likely obtained by Yu through the attendant card. Otherwise, the ordinary turntable cannot open the succubus. If Zhang Yi uses the attendant card, he will immediately have an absolutely loyal younger brother. However, the servants obtained through the servant card are very random. Don't look at Yu Shui, who looks like a stunning beauty. When it's Zhang Yi's turn, he might just draw out a pig. And the ID card is another special option that makes his blood boil. The proportion of this option on that special turntable is also pitifully small. The probability is probably less than 5 in 1000. There are not many players who dare to draw the special wheel. There are probably even fewer people who can draw identity cards. But for Zhang Yi, no matter how small the probability is, as long as it exists on the turntable, he can specify it. He barely needed any hesitation before he gave out the attendant card and designated the draw, identity card. With a burst of emotions, a reminder sounded in his mind again. Ding! Congratulations on taking out the ID card. Do you want to use it? Whether, of course, yes, generating a new identity for you. Byte. Congratulations on getting a new player identity, Zhang-san. Zhang-san. Zhang Yi heard the name. Everyone is not feeling well. This is so cute. Could it be that he took out a? He quickly switched to the so-called Zhang-san identity. Then, in the blink of an eye, his whole body shape changes. He became a little shorter and his skin became a little darker. You can guess without a mirror that your appearance has completely changed. And this is his second identity, Zhang-san. But this is so meow. This new identity, it's a person. To be precise, it's the human race. In fact, just like the vicious beast's lair he just drew, the options did not specifically refer to the human race's lair. Some intelligent advanced orcs, like human players, also have various functions of Doomsday Game players, and can also perform wheel draws. Of course, it also includes using the special wheel to win prizes. In the entire Doomsday Game, the human race is just one of the races. So, orc players can also use identity cards. So, the second identity randomly generated by the ID card is actually not restricted by race. No race restrictions. Randomly generated. The human race is just one of various random possibilities. But it's so cute. With so many races possible, Zhang Yi just randomly picked up a racial identity. What kind of shitty luck is this? He originally wanted to experience his new identity as an orc. You can even try to see if the upper limit of attributes of each level of the beast tribe is higher than that of the human race. He even thought about using his identity as an orc to break into the corresponding orc base camp. But the result, so meow. Why did he choose a random human race for him? Could it be that the god of destiny was secretly watching and raping him? Seeing as how happy he was just now, do you have to deliberately tease him? That's ridiculous. It took Zhang Yi a long time to calm down from being speechless that his random new identity was still human. He gritted his teeth and could only comfort himself. The human race is the human race. Although he did not obtain orc status. But a new identity of a human race is actually very useful. This second identity is equivalent to a trumpet account in the game. Everything it possesses is independent of the first identity. For example, Zhang Yi can use it to get a brand new exclusive horoscope. After that, use it to upgrade and compete in the rankings. In other words, it can completely appear later. On the list, the name, Zhang Yi, ranks first, while the name, Zhang San, ranks second. Of course, a new identity also means this, Zhang San, identity can also be transferred after reaching level 10. To a certain extent, it is equivalent to Zhang Yi being able to have dual professions. Of course, there is a difference between this kind of dual career and the kind of dual career with one identity and two careers. In this case, Zhang Yi cannot use two professions at the same time. Instead, you need to switch identities and change occupations. If you are an ordinary player, you will be eager to switch to a rubbish profession early on. It's actually good to use your ID card to change your number and practice again, and then get a second chance to change jobs. And for Zhang Yi, the cost of practicing trumpet is much smaller than that of others. As long as you get enough turntables and upgrades, you just move your fingers. So, although I was disappointed that I couldn't get the orc status, but a brand new identity is a pretty good benefit for Zhang Yi. And Zhang Yi made a simple calculation. The Doomsday Game has been going on for a month now. The daily 0-point list reward, the first place on each list, will always be a special carousel. So after all the calculations, Zhangcheng District should have distributed nearly 100 special carousels. Some of them may have been used by others. But maybe, there is still a backlog. Especially Luo Chengqing. Is there any special turntable in his hand that he doesn't dare to draw? There is no need to pay the price of life for smoking a special turntable. Instead, you only have to bear a 10% mortality rate. At the same time, there are only 1 to 3 special options on the turntable. Zhang Yi guessed. Even if those strong and ambitious players want to draw a special wheel, they should only choose the one with 3 special options. The kind with only 1 special option should be regarded as rubbish quality among the special dials. Thinking of this, Zhang Yi's eyes flickered, and he switched from Zhang San back to Zhang Yi. Then, consciousness sank into the player function again. At this time, it was past 0 o'clock. Some players began to take a break one after another. But there are also some night owls who habitually stay up late. The chat channel was still lively, with anonymous discussions about job transfer, the Endless Sea, and Zhang Yi. As for the forum channel, the most popular posts are still the invitations from the 4 major guilds to level 10 players to jointly explore the Endless Sea, as well as the special invitations from various forces to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi directly clicked on Zuyu Guild's post inviting him. Not surprised to see. In order to show respect for him, the poster was Luo Chengqing, who was once the number 1 in the combat power list. The Zuyu Guild sincerely invites Zhang Yi to explore the Endless Sea together, Luo Chengqing. The content of the post directly infers that Zhang Yi, who is already at level 10, has not yet changed his profession. Moreover, he is not willing to use low-level turntables to change jobs. Therefore, Zuyu Guild sincerely invites Zhang Yi to join us and explore the Endless Sea together. And Luo Chengqing directly stated in the post. Their monthly guild was originally jointly controlled by 4 presidents. And as long as Zhang Yi is willing to join, then, Zuyu Guild will welcome its 5th president. Moreover, Luo Chengqing also briefly revealed the relevant treatment of the 5th president. It can be said that overall, it is very attractive. Then, what makes Zhang Yi funny is, under this post, there was more than one reply with the nickname, Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, yes, your area's original ranking of the 1st in combat power is quite sensible. I will seriously consider joining your guild. Zhang Yi, where did the fake guy above come from to be so funny? I am the real Zhang Yi. You'd better not let me meet you. Zhang Yi, haha. In Zhongcheng, the players are really courageous. In a short period of time, so many trash pretending to be me have appeared. I, Zhang Yi, put my words here today. I will kill them all within 1 day. Just kill all Zhang Yi. Kill everyone you see. I advise you imposters to change your names back as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will die without knowing how. Zhang Yi, it's so funny. I've never seen a counterfeit more courageous than me. The players in Zhongcheng district really opened my eyes. Zhang Yi, very good. Zhang Yi is waiting today. Let me see who can kill me. Various speeches imitating Zhang Yi's true self. Seeing Zhang Yi's true self, he smiled for a moment. I have to say, these players are really good at getting things done. All of them are obviously fakes, but their tone of voice is as arrogant as if they are the real Zhang Yi, who is number 1 on the double list. Zhang Yi thought for a while and posted a reply under that post. Zhang Yi, if President Luo is really sincere, would you be willing to bear the pain and give me some special turntables? This speech is actually to test whether Luo Chengqing has any special turntables on hand. Of course, he is the genuine Zhang Yi. Mixed among the many counterfeits, it looks like a fake that is difficult to distinguish between true and false. At the same time, in a river viewing pavilion on a river embankment in Zhongcheng, the 4 presidents who jointly control the Zuyu Guild are gathering together. Luo Chengqing and Cheng Yang are both from Zhongcheng University. The 2 were once schoolmates, and their relationship is not bad at present. One is ranked 2nd in the combat power rankings, and the other is 11th in the combat power rankings. The other 2 presidents are Tang Ke and Ji Yutang respectively. Tang Ke previously ranked 7th on the combat power list. However, after Zhang Yi landed first, he dropped 8th. And because of his good relationship with Chong Jiaowei, his voice among the 4 presidents is second only to Luo Chengqing. Ji Yutang is only ranked 17th on the combat power list. But combat power is not entirely equal to personal strength. Ji Yutang masters a weird spiritual attack. If he deals with human players, he can even defeat the weak with the strong. These 4 presidents are not simple in strength. Before the Doomsday Game, they were all college students. At this moment, what gave these 4 top experts a headache was the reply to Luo Chengqing's post. There are so many Zhang Yis popping up, and each of them looks quite similar. In fact, Luo Chengqing only had a headache because of players causing trouble. What troubled Tang Ke even more was the name, Zhang Yi. Although it was certain that Zhang Yi, who came from another area to jump in and reach the top of the level list, could not be the Zhang Yi he knew. But having the same name still made him feel a little strange. While he was trying to overcome this strange feeling, Luo Chengqing on his right suddenly said, "Tang Ke, what did you think of?" When Tang Ke came to his senses, he didn't mention that he had a classmate also named Zhang Yi. He thought for a while and analyzed seriously. The first two lines look fake. I think a truly strong person will not send a message saying, "I will think it over," when he has not thought about it well. I feel that the reply was more like someone using a name change card to deliberately show off. Furthermore, a strong person with a little bit of magnanimity will not get so angry and yell at someone just because he sees someone pretending to be him. He looks a bit low-key, so that reply is the least likely one. The one who threatened to kill everyone named Zhang Yi in Zhang City is somewhat possible. After all, we don't know what the temper of that big boss is. He dared to move across regions so early, so he must be quite crazy in character. The one who said, "Let's see who can kill me," sounded pretty crazy, but the title, Ben Zhang Yi, felt a bit deliberate. The person who specifically mentioned the special turntable may have wanted to use the term, special turntable, to make himself look more genuine. But it's also possible that the real boss Zhang Yi. Tang Ke was immersed in analysis, and when the words, "Boss Zhang Yi," suddenly came out of his mouth, he froze. Although I know in my heart, they are not the same person. But when the word came out of his mouth, it still felt weird. He suppressed this strange feeling before continuing. He may indeed be interested in special turntables. Luo Chengqing nodded and asked Cheng Yang and Ji Yutang again. Cheng Yang said, "Old Tang and I have similar thoughts." Ji Yutang, on the other hand, has a rather special ability. After being silent for a moment, he said, "Old Tang's analysis is indeed very reasonable. But I feel, the one who asked you about the special turntable may be true." Luo Chengqing's eyes flashed. "How do you say that?" Ji Yutang looks a bit feminine, and his emotions are usually relatively reserved, giving people an unfathomable sense of mystery. His answer at this time also had a sense of being mysterious. He spat out two words, intuition. Cheng Yang, who was sitting next to him, turned his face and rolled his eyes, complaining in his heart, "Are you a woman? Are you still intuitive?" Luo Chengqing did not ask Ji Yutang any further. I don't know what he was thinking, so he went to post a reply. The person he replied to was Zhang Yi, who asked about the special carousel. Luo Chengqing replied to Zhang Yi. There are indeed special turntables, but they are the lowest quality with only one special option among the 5. I wonder if the boss is still interested. The special carousel has special characteristics and cannot be traded in the trading area. If you are interested, you can come to the river beach outside Shaoban Port Park before 0 o'clock tonight. Whether the boss is willing to join the Moon by Moon Guild or not, I am willing to give him a special turntable in exchange for his favor. After this reply, Luo Chengqing also replied to several other, Zhang Yi. However, the reply text simply invited, Zhang Yi, to meet at the river beach before 0 o'clock. And based on the order, it seems a little perfunctory. Even because of this attitude, an impostor directly threatened to be at odds with the Zuyu Guild and would not go to the place Luo Chengqing had agreed upon. However, Luo Chengqing didn't take the so-called threat of hostility to heart at all. It wasn't too surprising that Luo Chengqing could recognize Zhang Yi in the lair space. After all, he could sit at the top of the combat power list and be in charge of the most powerful guild in Zhang City. This Luo Chengqing is naturally not a simple character. Zhang Yi thought for a while, but didn't reply anything, but just rested in the lair space. There was no bed, so he put on a set of clothes, but he slept soundly. After all, compared to the frightening environment in the apocalypse, his lair space is much safer. When I woke up the next day, it was already past 8 in the morning. Zhang Yi yawned lazily, briefly browsed the chat channels and forums, and then left the nest space directly as Zhang Yi. And the place where he appeared again was naturally the hidden mountain call where he entered the lair space before. Zhang Yi thought for a while and then took action in one direction. However, Not long after leaving, I saw a group of teams from a distance. He thought for a moment and slowed down. It wasn't until a short while later that no one in the team discovered him. There's someone over there. The team of nearly 10 people approached Zhang Yi. Liao Yuanfang, the leader, finally saw the person clearly and shouted with a strange expression, "Zhang Yi." Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and responded, "Captain Liao." While responding, his eyes swept across the rest of the team. Li Xiao is also in this team. His eyes met Zhang Yi's and his pupils shrank suddenly. However, Li Xiao glanced at Liao Yuanfang again, and quickly calmed down his emotions, still looking honest and courteous on his face. Obviously, he didn't think Zhang Yi dared to do anything to him in front of Liao Yuanfang. Liao Yuanfang, on the other hand, didn't pay attention to these details at all. After looking Zhang Yi up and down, he said in a strange tone, "You're actually still alive. You're really lucky. But Zhang Yi, I advise you to change your name if you have the chance in the future." "Huh, changed your name?" Zhang Yi's expression was a little subtle. Liao Yuanfang still didn't see anything, and sighed slightly. "Your name happens to have the same name as a top boss. And for some reason, the big boss has threatened to kill everyone named Zhang Yi in Zhang City." Zhang Yi almost couldn't hold back Shi Xingde and said, "Ben Zhang Yi has been waiting today. Let me see who can kill me. But forget it. Be more steady. Don't play tricks casually. He is stable here." Following Liao Yuanfang, the team members who had not yet become official players were curious. Someone whispered, "Isn't it right, calling Zhang Yi would bother that big boss? Why is he so arrogant? Luo Chengqing, the strongest person in Zhongcheng, doesn't seem to be so arrogant, right? And it doesn't mean that the bosses of the Qingchuan Guild and the Yellow River Guild don't recommend that official players kill innocent people indiscriminately. They even set up a special law enforcement hall for this purpose. That top boss, also named Zhang Yi, dares to blatantly ignore the advice of the two major guilds. Where does he come from? He looks so awesome. People from the law enforcement hall, why don't you deal with that Zhang Yi?" Liao Yuanfang was not prepared to reveal too much to informal players about matters between official players. But it just so happened that they also had Zhang Yi here. So he explained more eloquently. "That Zhang Yi is not a player from our Zhongcheng district. He is from Zhongcheng, from other regions and across regions. Moreover, as soon as he came to our Zhongcheng district, he ranked first in the level list and combat power list. His strength is unfathomable. The two major guilds are too late to dig him out, so how can they send the law enforcement hall to deal with him?" Furthermore, what Liao Yuanfang did not say was, regarding the law enforcement hall, the two major guilds just had an idea. In fact, it has not really developed at all. After all, in this world now, you said he killed innocent people indiscriminately, but he said it was self-defense. In other words, justice is served. In short, if you really want to control it, you can't control it at all. And most powerful players are very opposed to establishing any law enforcement hall. So at present, the two major guilds will only take a little care of those murderers who are particularly bad in nature and kill everyone on sight. These informal players have no understanding of the current situation. They didn't think too much about it. Just hearing the word, cross-region, was quite shocking. Cross-region. That Zhang Yi is actually a strong man who came from across regions. To be able to do this, you must be very strong. Nonsense. Never heard that everyone is number one on the combat power list. Number one is number one, but the gap between number one and number two is simply unpredictable. Zhang Yi. Many eyes fell on Zhang Yi. When they heard that Liao Yuanfang asked Zhang Yi to change his name before, they didn't feel much at all. Now when I look at this, Zhang Yi, with the same name and surname, I feel weird. It's like one of my colleagues is named Ma Wadong. Yes, Zhang Yi, you should change your name. Although the name was chosen by your parents will definitely understand that you changed your name to save your life. Change it, we don't deserve this awesome name." Li Xiao is also among this group of informal players. Originally, he was worried when he heard Liao Yuanfang say that there was a big boss named Zhang Yi among the official players. After all, he knew Zhang Yi is not a simple person. He drew the upgrade life card and is probably an official player now. Then the boss, Zhang Yi, that Liao Yuanfang mentioned is most likely the Zhang Yi in front of him. However, later I heard Liao Yuanfang swear so confidently that the boss, Zhang Yi, was a boss from across the region. Li Xiao barely breathed a sigh of relief. But deep down, there is still a trace of doubt. Just in time, Liao Yuanfang waved his hand to silence the chattering voices in the team. He didn't know what he thought of, but he suddenly said to Zhang Yi. By the way, Zhang Yi, show me your data panel. This move. Sun Hao had asked Luo Shan like this before. A very rude request. But the strong versus the weak. You have the right to be rude. In the bottom of Liao Yuanfang's heart, a ridiculous thought actually flashed across his mind. If this Zhang Yi is in front of him, it's really Zhang Yi who is number one on both lists. Then his request to see the data panel is simply asking for death. But Liao Yuanfang didn't panic in his heart. After all, the possibility is too low. The Zhang Yi in front of me could only have the same name as the boss. Liao Yuanfang was thinking. Li Xiao was secretly looking forward to it, and took the opportunity to look at Zhang Yi's data panel with boss Liao. However, at this time, no one reacted. It was almost just an afterimage, passing by. In front of Li Xiao, a very oppressive figure appeared. His pupils suddenly widened. Zhang Yi's smiling face was reflected in the dark eyes. At that moment, the fear of death seemed to surge crazily from somewhere in the body. It almost lifted Li Xiao's Tianling cap. However, under such strong fear, Li Xiao couldn't even scream at all. He was strangled by the neck, and the life in his widened pupils quickly disappeared. The whole person died silently. All this happens in just 1 second. Time was so short that Liao Yuanfang and his team members didn't even have time to react. And at the same time, Li Xiao's vitality suddenly disappeared. His middle-aged body suddenly and strangely grew old and decayed rapidly. If you just look at the corpse, I'm afraid I'd think it belonged to a centenarian. This is not over yet. From the rapidly aging corpse, a strange black talisman suddenly shot out. The black talisman was surrounded by black gas, spinning in the air, and then suddenly headed straight towards Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi reacted in time and hurriedly pulled Liao Yuanfang next to him and blocked him in front of him. Liao Yuanfang's eyes were stunned and horrified, and he almost cursed. That weird black talisman seems to have an ominous aura no matter how you look at it. Liao Yuanfang really thought he was going to be killed by Zhang Yi. But when the black talisman integrated into his body, Liao Yuanfang's whole body was stiff and stunned for a moment. Then, suddenly his eyes widened. As if he had learned some great news, he suddenly raised his head and laughed wildly. Ha! Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! But soon, Liao Yuanfang came to his senses again amid everyone's doubtful gazes. He tried hard to restrain the ecstasy and coughed twice in embarrassment. Ahem, no, it's nothing. I just suddenly thought of something happy. Quote. You can't even believe this nonsense. Everyone could tell that Liao Yuanfang might have benefited from that weird black talisman. However, these team members are not as powerful as Liao Yuanfang, so they naturally dare not say anything. And Zhang Yi, who is stronger than Liao Yuanfang. At this time, Liao Yuanfang suddenly turned his attention to Zhang Yi again. The eyes are horrified, alert, and alert. Unconsciously, he took a small step back. Only then did he manage to squeeze out a stiff voice from his throat. You, Zhang Yi, you, it shouldn't be Zhang Yi who is number one on the level list, right? As soon as these words came out, the team members behind Liao Yuanfang were also shocked and looked at Zhang Yi as if they had seen a ghost. They also subconsciously took a few steps back. One of the buddies almost fell on Li Xiao's old and decaying corpse. But soon, they also reacted. How is that possible? Didn't it mean that Zhang Yi, who landed first on both lists, came from Zhangcheng district across regions? This Zhang Yi in front of me. How is it possible? No way possible. Captain Liao must have thought wrong. Zhang Yi did not answer immediately, but was still thinking about the strange black talisman just now. The black talisman was emitting black gas and looked strange. He subconsciously thought that that thing was going to harm people. But Liao Yuanfang's reaction just now seemed to have benefited from the strange black talisman. So, Zhang Yi was actually thinking, if you kill Liao Yuanfang, you should be able to take back that weird black talisman. But, in essence, he is not an inhumane murderer. Liao Yuanfang and him had no enmity. Even when facing Wu Shu before, he still stood on the club's side and supported him. Again, that strange black talisman indeed exuded an ominous aura. As far as Zhang Yi knew, in this doomsday game, the real good things were bound to the player's life and death. For example, the special option of the special wheel will only be bound to one player once it is drawn. Does not transfer with death. And that weird black talisman is obviously different. With the death of Li Xiao, it was transferred to Liao Yuanfang. Even originally, he wanted to transfer it to Zhang Yi. It would actually seek refuge with the person who killed its master after its master died. Just this kind of thing that can betray the master. In addition, after Li Xiao died, his body instantly became old and decayed. All these phenomena made Zhang Yi not have a good impression of the strange black talisman. Moreover, Li Xiao did not grow up in his previous life. Zhang Yi thought about it and felt that there was no need to kill Liao Yuanfang just to snatch the black talisman. On the contrary, we can borrow Liao Yuanfang and wait and see. After thinking about this clearly, he looked at Liao Yuanfang, who looked nervous, and smiled. Captain Liao, don't be nervous. Zhang Yi, who was parachuted to the top of the ranking list, has been confirmed to be a cross-regional player, hasn't he? I joined the Lot Club a few days ago. How can I be a cross-regional boss? Say it. Liao Yuanfang and others were inexplicably relieved. As for suspecting Zhang Yi of lying, in fact, if Zhang Yi wants to say that he is the top boss on the ranking list, they are the ones who should doubt him. This answer now is more in line with their cognition and a reasonable answer. But, Liao Yuanfang glanced at Li Xiao's already miserable corpse again. Think again about Zhang Yi's action just now, where he did not hesitate to pull himself to block the black talisman for him. He frowned deeply again and continued to look at Zhang Yi cautiously. Even if Zhang Yi is not number one on the ranking list, your strength doesn't seem right. What do you mean by my strength? Zhang Yi smiled again, looking very relaxed. After I came to this world of ferocious beasts, I had some adventures, and now I am an official player. Hiss. Official player. As soon as these words came out, the members of the informal players all looked at him with envy and hatred. Especially among them, Zhang Peng. Zhang Peng had been knocked down by Zhang Yiqingqing before when he was in Luoshan's team. Now, he witnessed Zhang Yi killing Li Xiao with his own eyes. The moment Li Xiao died, he was almost scared to death. I am afraid that I will be the next one to die. Originally, Zhang Peng was slightly relieved after hearing Zhang Yi say that he was not the top boss on the ranking list. I just feel that Zhang Yi is so arrogant, Captain Liao must deal with him. But now Zhang Yi said, he is already an official player. How come this freight is so good? He became an official player, so wouldn't Li Xiao's death be in vain? Although the club has rules that members are not allowed to kill each other. But the current situation is that Li Xiao is dead. He has no one to back him up. As long as Zhang Yi is strong enough and casually blames Li Xiao, he can easily escape the club's punishment. Zhang Peng's heart felt like it was cool. At the same time, I deeply regret. I only regret that I really shouldn't have offended Luoshan and Zhang Yi before. Now, he can only lower his head and try to reduce his sense of existence. Liao Yuanfang's answer to Zhang Yi was a little surprising, but not too surprising. He blurted out and asked, how strong is your current combat strength? But, when asked this question, Zhang Yi did not answer. He just raised his eyebrows at him casually. Liao Yuanfang touched his nose nonchalantly. He realized that he no longer had the qualifications to be rude to Zhang Yi. Therefore, he dismissed the topic of looking at the data panel and asking about combat power. Liao Yuanfang frowned again and said, you don't need to talk about anything else, but I'm afraid you still have to give an explanation for killing Li Xiao. Zhang Yi didn't hide anything. He only said that he was targeted by Li Xiao after he had a strange encounter. Then Li Xiao used the curse wheel to design him. The design failed, and he later escaped. If we meet him again now, he will just take revenge. Liao Yuanfang was shocked when he heard this. Zhang Yi, the person who listed the cursed carousel for sale, is indeed you. Zhang Yi shrugged slightly and nodded. Liao Yuanfang's expression changed again and again, and he didn't know what he was thinking. In the end, he just sighed and said in a deep voice, "Okay, no matter what you said is true or not, just treat this matter as if Li Xiao was at fault first. The club will not punish you. But the premise is that when you return from this world of ferocious beasts, you must come back to the club with me and become a formal member." Having said this, he also said, "In fact, the establishment of various formal forces is not just about gathering a group of people together. But in this doomsday game, there are special power tokens. Like club tokens and guild tokens. Lot Club was established with a club token. As for those guild forces, the guild tokens they use are much more advanced than club tokens, and the various functions of their forces should be richer. But don't dislike Lot Club. For a top guild force like that, the recruitment threshold is very high. Ordinary players don't even have to think about it. To join various forces, the first condition is to be an official player. So the official members of Rakuten Club are all official players. Like your former captain Gao Chong, no matter how strong he is, he still needs to become an official player before he can become an official member of the club. You are now considered the best in your Death Squad team, and you are actually the first to become an official player. If I have the chance to meet Luo Shan and Gao Chong again, I will probably shock their jaws." Liao Yuanfang said this with a hint of smile. Then he continued. "When you return to Lot Club, there will be a dedicated person who will let you use the club token once. When the time comes, your player functions will have an additional club-related function." In fact, Zhang Yi knew everything Liao Yuanfang said. The informal players listened and looked at him with more and more envy. However, in the envious eyes of those informal players, Zhang Yi unexpectedly said, without knowing what is good and what is evil, "What if I don't want to join the Lot Club? Say it." Those envious and jealous eyes instantly turned into wanting to strangle him on the spot. Liao Yuanfang's expression was also one of astonishment. "Did you kid not read the strategy post on the forum, or did you not have enough of Doomsday's beating? Don't join the Lot Club. Then what do you want to do? Do you want to go to heaven? In today's world, the speed of personal growth is most likely not as fast as joining a powerful group. Moreover, each force has different attitudes toward different types of formal members. For example, brother and sister Yu Yu and Yu Shui. They directly joined the Lot Club as official players. Although he is a formal member as soon as he comes. But in comparison, the club will pay more attention to those official players who were born and raised in the club and transformed from the death squads. Because that kind of player, they are equivalent to growing up in the club. Such a person, first, know the root and bottom. Secondly, you will have a greater sense of belonging to the club. Just like in ancient society, the status of domestic slaves is naturally higher than that of newly purchased slaves from outside. In Zhang Yi's case, he could barely be considered as growing up in the Lot Club. The treatment and attention he can get in Lot Club will definitely be much better than in other forces. Liao Yuanfang was afraid that Zhang Yi wouldn't understand, so he wanted to explain the stakes to him. However, Zhang Yi still looked relaxed, raised his eyebrows, and said in a joking tone, "It's not God's fault, but I do have some ideas about causing trouble." Make trouble, quote. Liao Yuanfang's mouth twitched slightly, and he was about to say something when he suddenly realized. The name Zhang Yi, shouldn't you? Liao Yuanfang's eyes widened for a moment. Before he finished speaking, he changed his words again. Among the people pretending to be Zhang Yi on the forum, are you guys likely to have a piece of the pie? Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows but did not answer. Liao Yuanfang's eyelids twitched slightly again, feeling quite complicated. I have to say that in this world, people are different. Some people pursue comfort and have the greatest destiny. Some people pursue thrills and rush wherever there is danger. Liao Yuanfang really didn't expect that this kid Zhang Yi obviously looked like a man of peace and prosperity, and he looked quite stable. Unexpectedly, deep down, he is a person who likes to take risks and get into trouble. Thinking about it this way, it doesn't seem surprising that he can have some adventures. Because based on Liao Yuanfang's experience, those who like thrills and excitement and run wherever there is danger, it does take off faster. But it also dies faster. Zhang Yiruo really has that kind of character. Liao Yuanfang looked at him and frowned. I was about to say something more, but I didn't expect. This kid Zhang Yi actually said arrogant words again. Brother Liao seemed to have gained some benefit from that strange black talisman just now. As soon as these words came out, Liao Yuanfang's expression changed. What do you mean? I don't mean anything else, I just want to say. Zhang Yi's tone sounded like a joke between the two brothers. Brother Liao, do you still have time coins on hand? Can you lend me some time coins? Borrow. Liao Yuanfang's expression became more and more serious. Yes, borrow it. Zhang Yi explained seriously. I have a lucky blessing effect that is about to expire, so I want to open a few more reels before the effect expires to see if I can make some money. Added lucky blessing effect. Liao Yuanfang was shocked. But when I think about it this way, I can understand more clearly why Zhang Yi has risen so quickly. Various time-limited effects do appear on the Wheel of Fortune. There are curses and blessings. And the lucky blessing effect, in some special moments, is even more precious and rare than the immortality pill. Even ordinary people may not be able to achieve such effects in their lifetime. Liao Yuanfang rolled his eyes and asked again, what color do you want to draw? I still have a few turntables on hand that I can lend you in case of emergency. Zhang Yi's eyes lit up and he asked directly, is there any purple color? Question mark. Liao Yuanfang's eyelids twitched violently again. But soon, he and his team members all took a deep breath. He looked at Zhang Yi with an expression as if he had seen a ghost. Because the purple turntable, but it will consume 1,000 years of life. Once is 1,000 years of life. How long does it take for an ordinary player to save up 1,000 years of life? Ordinary people really don't have this courage. But now, this guy who was a tumor worm yesterday dared to ask him if he had a purple turntable today. Liao Yuanfang didn't know whether Zhang Yi was just showing off or if he really had the capital and courage to smoke the purple spinner. After he calmed down, he gritted his teeth and explained. Purple roulette. Who do you think purple roulette is? The top players at this stage are only level 10. And even for a team of 10 level 10 players, it's not easy to hit the purple wheel. Do you think I can have a purple turntable when I'm not even a core member of the club? Zhang Yi was actually not surprised by Liao Yuanfang's answer. In fact, he couldn't see any purple carousels for sale in the trading area. Not even the most rubbish quality. It now seems that at this time, the purple turntable is indeed a scarce resource. He wants to continue to obtain the purple carousel through acquisition, but it is probably impossible. So, what about the blue carousel? Does Team Liao have one? It would be better if it has the option of longevity elixir on it. Liao Yuanfang gritted his teeth again, turned his hand, and a palm-sized blue turntable appeared in his palm. There is indeed an option for the immortality pill, but it is of rubbish quality. If you dislike it, don't dislike it, don't dislike it. Zhang Yi directly swept the blue turntable over. Then, in full view, it's almost as fast as lightning. Just press the turntable and shout the word, draw. This posture shocked Liao Yuanfang. At the same time, I was shocked, but also angry. What the hell, blue turntable, are you driving so carelessly? Who the hell doesn't have all kinds of preparations before turning on the turntable? If a powerful beast were to pull out, it would kill you with one slap. It may even hurt the people next to you. Liao Yuanfang cursed in his heart and greeted all 18 generations of Zhang Yi's ancestors. I just feel that this guy's steady temperament is just an illusion. This special horse is too unstable. He is just like a young boy, so reckless. However, he was cursing in his heart. At the same time, I was thinking about running away as soon as there was any danger. As a result, he heard the prompt sound coming from the blue turntable, which was bite. Congratulations on drawing the reward, immortality pill. What? Why did you draw the immortality pill so hastily? You are not playing me, right? Not only Liao Yuanfang. Everyone present was stunned for a while. It's like a dream. What the hell, have they all thought wrong before? The more cautious and pious the lottery is, the less good things will come out. On the contrary, the more hasty the lottery is like Zhang Yi's, the better the goods will be. Liao Yuanfang began to doubt life for a moment. He watched helplessly as Zhang Yi swallowed the blue quality immortality pill extremely quickly. He swallowed his throat and couldn't help but ask, "Is your lucky effect still there? I still have a few garbage turntables here. There are still a few seconds. Hurry up." Zhang Yi's tone was also urgent, as if he really had some kind of time-limited lucky effect. Liao Yuanfang quickly handed Zhang Yi several more white turntables. Zhang Yi slapped one of them very hastily. Bite. Congratulations on drawing the reward, immortality pill. Question mark question mark question mark. Grass. It's the immortality pill again. Under the horrifying eyes of everyone. Zhang Yi's hand pressed the next white turntable. But under those jealous eyes that turned red, he finally cursed angrily with a look of regret on his face. The time limit is up. Liao Yuanfang looked at Zhang Yi's angry look, and felt inexplicably that this world was too magical. Other shocked team members also had mixed emotions. This lucky effect, it's so unbelievable. This Zhang Yi, despite being so lucky, still looks dissatisfied. It's so infuriating. Those jealous eyes wanted to eat Zhang Yisheng alive. In fact, Zhang Yi didn't make this fuss just to show off. It's because of the time interval between taking the immortality pill. He slept for 8 hours. When I came out of the nest space, I just wanted to take the longevity pill as soon as possible. And take it again every hour after that. This is the best way to maximize profits. And, if conditions permit, it would be best for him to take the purple quality immortality pill. Even, if conditions permit, orange, red, gold. It's a pity that now, he has never opened a purple carousel. He didn't care what these little Kurami thought of him. Holding the white longevity pill that had just been taken out in his hand, his eyes met Liao Yuanfang's. Liao Yuanfang's eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. But he had already vaguely realized, Zhang Yi's current strength is probably still above him. Coupled with his character, a white immortality pill is not something he would risk and cause trouble for. But what he didn't expect was, Zhang Yi actually took the initiative to hand over the longevity pill. Liao Yuanfang's eyes widened again. What do you mean? Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. There are 2 turntables, one blue and one white. I'm selling you this white immortality pill. Do you want 20-year coins? 20-year coin. Generally speaking, the selling price of longevity elixir is related to the year it can increase longevity. The white immortality elixir produced by roulette can extend your life by between 10 and 100 years. It is impossible to say exactly how many years it will last, and it is up to the buyer to bet on the elixir. Zhang Yi's price for this 20-year coin is already very conscientious. However, Liao Yuanfang is only an official member of Lot Club. He didn't have that many years of coins on hand. But he didn't want to miss this opportunity. After thinking for a while, he suddenly took out his personal life chart that looked like a mobile phone. Let's add a friend first, and give me some time to raise money. Okay, Zhang Yi answered simply. He flipped his palm and put a coin on Liao Yuanfang's mobile phone. In fact, players who are more familiar with Doomsday games can complete the operation of adding friends by directly touching them. However, at this stage, most players are still more accustomed to completing this operation through the collision of exclusive horoscopes. Very common operation of adding friends. The informal players on the side looked at it with envy. They seemed to realize very clearly at this time. Zhang Yi. It has completely become an existence that they need to look up to. After that, Liao Yuanfang continued to lead the team to search for Zhou Ming. At the same time, I also contacted my friends to raise money. After walking for about 10 minutes, their team met another team next to a towering tree in a forest. Close the team. Liao Yuanfang was shocked when he saw Guanling. Aren't you going to guard outside Qin Lake? Why did you enter this world of ferocious beasts? Guanling still looked cold and arrogant, and she glanced at the members of Liao Yuanfang's team. When he glanced at Zhang Yi, his eyes paused for a moment. On his face, he replied calmly to Liao Yuanfang. I received messages from several members of the Blood Swallow Club. This world of ferocious beasts in Qin Lake is a bit special. Huh, special? What special method? Liao Yuanfang only felt that this world of ferocious beasts was less dangerous than any other he had explored before. As long as you overcome the polar night environment, there is almost no danger. However, Guanling said, the difficulty of exploring this world of ferocious beasts is indeed ridiculously low. But if we want to go back, I'm afraid it will be more difficult. Huh, Liao Yuanfang had some experience and quickly reacted. The passage leading to our world is guarded by powerful orcs. Guanling shook his head slightly. It's unclear whether there are powerful orcs guarding it. Because according to the information from the pathfinding members of the Blood Swallow Club, the passage seems to be deep in a miasma swamp. Miasma swamp. When Liao Yuanfang heard this word, his face instantly turned ugly. However, this was not enough. Guanling added, the miasma is highly poisonous, and there seem to be a large number of ferocious beasts dormant in the swamp. Liao Yuanfang's face became more and more ugly, and at the same time, he looked at Guanling with a strange look. You know the existence of the miasma swamp, but you still dare to enter this world of ferocious beasts. The poisonous miasma, and the unknown beasts dormant in the swamp. This means that the difficulty of their return journey has greatly increased. The club's forces have learned about it before. Some of the worlds of ferocious beasts that wiped out all members of the death squads are not necessarily filled with terrifying ferocious beasts. And it is very likely that it is just the return passage to that world. The environment is extremely harsh, or it is guarded by powerful beasts. Those death squads who explore the world of ferocious beasts may not necessarily die. Instead, he was trapped and died in the world of ferocious beasts, unable to return. In that case, the club may not necessarily send people to help. And if possible, let them be trapped inside and fend for themselves. Their current situation is quite bad. Although he was trapped and died in this world of ferocious beasts, his life would not be in danger. But the polar night environment here is actually not suitable for human beings to survive for a long time. Moreover, this restricted environment will also limit their growth. In this case, Liao Yuanfang really didn't expect that Guanling would dare to break in even though he knew this. Guanling's attitude was quite relaxed and he shrugged indifferently. She even smiled. You may have underestimated how much Wang Shuiyan cares about Zhou Ming. If we are simply trapped here, we may indeed be abandoned by the club. But don't forget, the news about Zhou Ming is also here. As long as I casually send a message to Wang Shuiyan and lie to her that I have found a living Zhou Ming, she will definitely try her best to conquer this world of ferocious beasts. Liao Yuanfang's mouth twitched slightly after hearing this, but he still felt that this woman was so courageous. Guanling didn't care what he thought, and smiled suddenly, and I heard that there is a high probability that there are some treasures near the passages guarded by powerful beasts. Liao Yuanfang was speechless for a while. He only felt that this woman's ambition and courage were really. He really can compete with Zhang Yi. Thinking of this, he pretended to receive the message, but actually secretly sent a message to Guanling. Can you still use your skills to see Zhang Yi's data panel? Guanling calmly replied, no. 2 words, the information revealed as thought-provoking. Or, Zhang Yi has some props or skills to prevent detection. Or, Zhang Yi's level is higher than Guanling. Like Liao Yuanfang, in the Lot Club, he is only a formal member. But Guanling is a core member of the Blood Swallow Club. Her level is as high as level 8. Zhang Yi was just a tumor worm yesterday. Can today's level be higher than Guanling? Are you kidding? Liao Yuanfang didn't have time to say anything else. Instead, Guanling sent him another sentence. Could he be Zhang Yi, who was parachuted to the top of the level list? Liao Yuanfang thought for a moment and replied with 2 sentences. I also suspected it and asked, but he said no. If you think about it carefully, it shouldn't be the case. After all, being airborne to the top of the level list is something that only players from other regions can do. Guanling was thoughtful but didn't reply. Just when the 2 of them were sending private messages behind others' backs, a scream suddenly came from Liao Yuanfang's team. It was so startling that some of the surrounding birds and beasts flew away. Liao Yuanfang frowned fiercely, glanced over, and said in a bad tone, why are you crazy? Zhang Peng shook his head and pointed at the ground next to the towering tree. I just saw that pool seems to be. He didn't finish. Then he was interrupted by Guanling in an indifferent tone. It's a pile of human skeletons that were eaten up by birds and beasts. As soon as these words came out, the entire atmosphere fell silent for a moment. Guanling was indifferent. This world of ferocious beasts, except for the polar night environment, is indeed not very dangerous. But once a horde of terrifying beasts is attracted, the scene will be like locusts crossing the border. Even I can't resist them. Locusts passing through. These 4 simple words made everyone present feel terrified. Just thinking about that scene made them feel numb. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, had witnessed it with his own eyes. When he left the center of the flock, the large number of black birds devoured Wushu's team almost instantly. The picture is somewhat mind-numbing. However, Zhang Yi thought, oh, he can now switch to 2 professions. One of them can consider the direction of locust transit. The best thing is to be able to do it. One person becomes an army. He remembered that there was a strong man in his previous life, and his professional ability was to control the Zerg. However, it seems that the side effects are quite serious. It is said that the strong man is as skinny as a stick, and his whole body is exhausted, like a skeleton. However, Zhang Yi had never been in contact with that strong person. I only saw it once from a distance, and the strong man was also wrapped in a black robe, and his figure was not exposed. Just as they were thinking about it, Guanling and Liao Yuanfang discussed a few more words and decided to head to the direction of the miasma swamp to explore the situation first. This group of converging and expanded teams continued to act. Liao Yuanfang collected the money to buy the longevity pill and completed the transaction with Zhang Yi. Guanling also took the opportunity to become friends with Zhang Yi, and even asked about Zhang Yi's level as a joke. Zhang Yi did not answer, looking enigmatic. This made Guanling even more puzzled. Is he really strong or is he bluffing? It is true that there will be some half-heartedness, deliberately pretending to be strong and arrogant, and bluffing. In fact, it is equivalent to an empty city strategy, betting on the caution of some people. Guanling is really cautious and she doesn't dare to gamble. If this kid is really strong, then she will lose more than she gains. Therefore, before she understood the situation, her attitude towards Zhang Yi was quite easygoing. But I still can't help but think about it. Do you want to find a chance to test it out? Just as it happened, after they walked north for almost 20 minutes, they finally found the miasma swamp. Under the polar night environment, the swamp shrouded in miasma became increasingly dark and strange. In the swamp, slight gurgling sounds can be heard from time to time. There is obviously a vicious beast living inside. Liao Yuanfang witnessed the situation in this swamp with his own eyes, and his expression became even more ugly, this extreme environment. He took a deep breath and turned to look at Guanling. Do you have any ideas? Guanling glanced at Zhang Yi subconsciously, thinking about taking this opportunity to test it out, when he suddenly heard some movement from the woods outside the swamp. She suddenly turned her gaze and shouted at the movement, "Who?" However, what she responded to was a sarcoma-like missile that flew straight towards the swamp. With a pop sound, the unknown missile shot into the swamp. The gurgling sound in the swamp suddenly became intense. Guanling's expression suddenly changed, and he subconsciously exclaimed, "Not good." Liao Yuanfang on the side also realized something, his face changed with shock, and he cursed fiercely. The 2 strong official players both looked like something was going wrong. Naturally, those informal players panicked. What happened? What's wrong? What happened? For a moment, there was chaos outside this swamp. However, there is no need to wait for Liao Yuanfang or Guanling to explain. These informal players also quickly realized the problem. That gurgling sound in the swamp. It's an ugly beast emerging. In the woods outside the swamp, there were also the sounds of a large number of birds and animals flying in. These 2 kinds of beasts, attacking from both sides. For a moment, a word Guanling said not long ago resurfaced in everyone's mind. Locusts are passing through. At the same time, I also thought of the remaining human skeletons next to the towering tree. Facing the terrifying herd, they will end up like that too. Don't say those informal players were scared out of their wits. Even Liao Yuanfang's face turned pale and his legs felt weak. And at this time, a figure passed through the crowd. Almost instantly, they disappeared from their group of people without a trace. Yes, Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi ran away. Run. Or a teleportation talisman. So fast, others couldn't react at all. Actually, Zhang Yi didn't use the teleportation talisman. He directly relied on his blood to suppress him, so the birds and beasts would not take the initiative to attack him, so he broke out from the direction of the swarm of birds and beasts. Because the speed is so fast, it looks like a teleportation charm is used. And his quick reaction can be regarded as a warning to Liao Yuanfang and others. Guanling suddenly shouted, "Teleport talisman." Her voice almost broke when she shouted these 3 words. At the same time, it also made those informal players despair. Because they don't have teleportation charms, they will be abandoned and die under the herd. At this critical moment, everything is too urgent, and Liao Yuanfang doesn't care about the informal players at all. He turned over his hand and took out a teleportation talisman. But before I had time to tear it apart, then a strong wind hit him. Liao Yuanfang's pupils suddenly widened and his eyes were about to burst. He couldn't believe it at all. Guanling. Guanling snatched his teleportation talisman. Yes, Guanling himself does not have a teleportation talisman. She robbed Liao Yuanfang. Then the next second, he quickly disappeared from the place where the beasts were besieging him. At that moment, the center surrounded by Wuyongyang beasts suddenly erupted with Liao Yuanfang's shrill and desperate curses. "Guanling, you fool, you have to die." This sound can even echo. But there was no response from Guanling. The teleportation talisman is much lower level than the teleportation stone. Not only is the transmission distance shorter, but the direction is also very random. If Guanling is not lucky enough, he may be teleported directly to the swamp area. Fortunately, she has always been lucky. Teleported directly outside the grove, behind the birds. Guanling didn't even look back, and ran wildly in the opposite direction of the swamp. Besides escaping, she is also chasing someone. They will suddenly be attacked by a herd of animals, obviously caused by humans. It was the man hiding in the grove who threw the beast sarcoma into the swamp. The beast attracting sarcoma is a more advanced animal attracting item than the beast attracting incense. Someone is deliberately trying to harm them. Or, to be more precise, if Guanling Ruo guessed correctly, the person was deliberately trying to harm, that was her. There was no expression on Guanling's face, but in his eyes, there was a vague emotion that couldn't be feinted. A few more minutes passed. She turned her hand over, and a fiery red whip appeared in her hand. "Swing the long whip forward." Then I heard a scream. "Ah!" Guanling ran a few more steps and appeared at the place where the screams came. I saw a girl who looked similar to her, being tied up with a fiery red whip, her eyes frightened. The appearance is similar, but this girl's temperament is more delicate than Guanling. She shivered, struggled a little, and shouted in a trembling voice, "Sister! Sister, it's me, Guanyi." "Oh." Guanling lowered his eyelids, his eyes and tone were very indifferent. "Why are you running?" I just saw that there seemed to be a tide of beasts over there, so, I was afraid." Guanling said. "Oh, again." After a moment of silence, she said calmly, "I saw it was you." What?" The girl looked panicked, not sure whether it was because of Guanling's words or her indifferent expression. Guanling didn't answer, just closed his eyes. When she opened her eyes again, her eyes became colder and colder, even with a hint of murderous intent. "Guanyi, your sister and I, if we were really stupid, we wouldn't be where we are today." Guanyi shivered even more, her teeth chattering. No, it's not." She seemed to want to defend something, but she quickly changed her strategy. "No. Sister, I didn't want to harm you. I wanted to harm Zhang Chao and the others. They bullied me. I hate them so much. I just want them to die. Yes, I just want them to die. Sister, you have a teleportation talisman. Sister, I don't want to harm you." He spoke very quickly, but still sounded panicked. In this case, of course Guanling couldn't believe it. In fact, there is no teleportation talisman in her hand. When Guanyi first went to the world of ferocious beasts, he acted coquettishly and asked her to take away the teleportation talisman. If not for luck, Liao Yuanfang had a teleportation talisman in his hand. Guanling will die there too. As she said, the fact that she has grown to this point shows that she is not a fool. A whoosh sound. The fiery red whip wrapped around Guanyi's body suddenly let go. A hint of surprise flashed in Guanyi's eyes. However, the next second, the long whip suddenly wrapped around her neck and slowly tightened it. Surprise turns to horror in an instant. Guan Yi instinctively grabbed the whip rope around his neck with both hands. The slightly pointed nails left shocking blood marks on her neck as slender and white as a white swan. She rolled her eyes. The feeling of near death left only endless despair in her eyes. Then, just when she thought she was going to be strangled mercilessly by her sister, refill the air. The fierce force wrapped around his neck also dissipated. She saved, however, just when Guan Yi coughed a few times and breathed heavily. But I heard a condescending and indifferent voice floating above my head. Before you die, tell me the truth. Why? It was Guan Ling's calm and emotionless questioning voice. Guan Yi suddenly raised his head at this moment, no longer hiding the hatred in his eyes. With red eyes and a hoarse voice, she shouted hysterically, I hate you. You can't die well. The pronunciation of the word, die, is only half pronounced. The strength that had been released wrapped around her neck again. Guan Yi just stared, dead. At this time, Guan Ling did not remove the long whip wrapped around his sister's neck for a long time. It's as if the body didn't fall and the person didn't die. However, after a moment of silence, she suddenly said to the high branches of an ancient tree nearby, have you seen enough? In fact, Zhang Yi chased him all the way and was not prepared to let go of the person who harmed him. Although that person's original intention may not be to harm him. However, it was a shame that he didn't take action directly. Otherwise, we won't be able to see this good show. He jumped directly from the tree and landed firmly on his feet. At this time, Guan Ling's surprisingly calm expression returned to his usual cold and arrogant look. She raised her hand, withdrew the whip, and Guan Yi's body fell down. Zhang Yi looked on with no expression on his face. However, with a raised eyebrow, he asked more. Don't you ask more why she hates you? Guan Ling walked to the old tree, leaned back slightly, and lit a slender lady's cigarette. Why? Does it make sense? Yes, does it make sense? Once upon a time, or in a previous life, when he was stabbed in the back by Tang Ke, Zhang Yi always wanted to know why. He asked himself, during college, he and Tang Ke had such a close relationship. And before that backstab, he had never done anything to feel sorry for Tang Ke. Tang Ke didn't have any reason to hate him. Even before the end, Tang Ke was not that ungrateful and wolf-hearted character. Everything seemed to happen without warning. In his previous life, Zhang Yi couldn't figure it out for a long time. Until Guan Ling blew out a smoke ring and suddenly said, what do you think? Is human nature always like this? Or did it become like this after the apocalypse? Zhang Yi didn't answer immediately. He remembered that in the movie, the killer isn't too cold, a 12-year-old girl asked. Has life always been this hard? Or is it just childhood? The answer she got was, always. Chapter 71. Women's cigarettes are slender. Guan Ling's fingers are slender and white, with well-defined joints, making her look like a fairy. She didn't take a few puffs before throwing the cigarette away. She knelt down again and took off the space ring from her sister's body. Zhang Yi looked at this scene. A masterpiece that shocked the past and the present comes to mind. A fire on the mountain, the overbearing director fell in love with me. He casually stepped on the cigarette butt, and heard Guan Ling's lazily voice squatting there again. When the apocalypse first came, I was quite upset. My parents were not in Zhongcheng and I couldn't protect them. But as time goes by, those worries and longing for my family seemed to have gradually faded away. Zhang Yi nodded. This time it was his turn to lean on the tree trunk. After thinking for a while, he said some comforting words in a gentlemanly manner. Since you are so upset, I have some good news for you. Guan Ling looked back at him, looking forward to what good news it would be. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and said calmly, Liao Yuanfang had a strange encounter before and obtained a strange black talisman. I don't know the specific effect, but I think there is a possibility that he is not dead yet. Say this, good news. The corners of Guan Ling's mouth twitched obviously. She froze for a while, then gritted her teeth and said, I really, thank you. If Liao Yuanfang is still alive, it will not be good news for her. Although she and Liao Yuanfang had no grievances, they had gotten along harmoniously before. But just now, in the desperate situation of life and death, she took away Liao Yuanfang's chance to survive. As for this matter, Guanling doesn't think he did anything wrong. Even bystanders can most likely understand this, human nature. After all, in the situation just now, there was only one teleportation talisman. Then, it will only belong to the strongest. Guanling never thought about killing Liao Yuanfang. She just didn't want to die. But this, human nature, Liao Yuanfang, the victim, will definitely not understand. If he is really still alive, then there will definitely be a fight to the death with Guanling. Of course Zhang Yi also knew that this news was by no means good news for Guanling. He looked at Guanling's expression. But from the perspective of a bystander, I thought about my grievances with Chang Jiaowei and Tang Ke. If you think about it carefully, those so-called grievances, from the perspective of some bystanders, it seems to be understandable in human nature. However, as a victim, he, like Liao Yuanfang, cannot forgive this, human nature. Just kidding, he is not the virgin. Although Liao Yuanfang is not ruthless enough, he is definitely not the virgin. If he is really alive. Zhang Yi glanced at Guanling again with complicated eyes. He thought that if Liao Yuanfang was really still alive, there was a certain possibility that he would be solved by Guanling himself. Just like Tang Ke also wanted to kill him. Perhaps from the beginning, there was no enmity between them, and they even got along harmoniously. However, from the moment Tang Ke took away the upgrade life card, this feud was bound to be forged. That's why Tang Ke stabbed Zhang Wei so firmly, hoping to kill Zhang Wei. While Zhang Yizheng was thinking, Guanling did not continue the topic of whether Liao Yuanfang was alive or dead. She asked directly, "What do you think about the miasma swamp?" Zhang Yi thought for a while and said seriously, "I didn't have any ideas at first. I just saw you throwing cigarette butts around, and suddenly I got an idea." Guanling's eyes lit up. "You mean, arson?" Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. "I'm not sure, but I want to try. The pure black poisonous gas above the swamp is, to put it bluntly, a kind of gas. But is it specifically flammable gas, and can it burn the swamp?" In fact, Zhang Yi couldn't tell for sure. Even after setting fire to the swamp, no one can predict in advance what the consequences will be. But in such a poisonous place, serious exploration would probably have no clue. Liao Yuanfang's previous evaluation is absolutely correct. Guanling is courageous. She made a simple calculation and made a decision. Okay, let's set fire to it. The effect of the beast-inducing sarcoma will probably last for a while. During this period, as a core member of the Blood Swallow Club, this woman can barely be considered a leader. He is almost used to assigning tasks and giving orders. Zhang Yi interrupted her directly. "We are free to move around. In an hour, we will gather in the woods outside the swamp to discuss setting fire." As he said that, he looked like he was going to leave and act alone. Guanling frowned slightly and spoke very quickly. "The situation will be unclear at that time. Should we call in more manpower?" Zhang Yi was surprised that this woman would ask his opinion. He paused slightly, but left without answering. Recruiting manpower is actually a double-edged sword. Sometimes, there is indeed strength in numbers. But sometimes, too many people can lead to bad things. Zhang Yi didn't answer, just letting Guanling take control of the decision. Anyway, he couldn't find any manpower here. After splitting up operations with Guanling, Zhang Yi actually headed directly towards the swamp. In the small woods, he saw a swarm of blackbirds from a distance. Just like swallowing up Wu Shu's team before, the large gathering of blackbirds looked like an airtight black curtain, completely covering the situation on the other side of the swamp. Zhang Yi was also unsure whether Liao Yuanfang was still alive. He sent a message using the friend function but received no reply. It had been almost an hour since he last took the blue immortality pill. The previous transaction with Liao Yuanfang also made him rich again. So I prepared to take advantage of this opportunity to make another purchase in the trading area. He is preparing to return to the lair space. Before that, I habitually explored the surroundings and prepared to find a hidden place before taking action. It was only through this investigation that he discovered there seems to be something hidden in a hidden thorn bush in the grove. Zhang Yi walked over in a few steps, and a hint of astonishment flashed in his eyes. "I saw two trembling clumps hiding among the thorn bushes. It's clearly Luo Shan and Zhou Ming." These two guys looked very embarrassed. Jojo's nose was bruised, his face was swollen, and his whole body was black. He was obviously seriously injured and poisoned. Luotian's condition was not much better. His body was as black as those black birds over there, and he was obviously a symptom of poisoning. Moreover, these two guys should have never taken abdominal Ming and Bingsiguo. In the polar night environment, you are still in a state where you can't see anything with your eyes black. The restless flock of birds before probably scared them too much. At this moment, Zhang Yi's approach made the two of them dare not breathe, as if they were going to have a cardiac arrest at any moment. These two people are simply the word, miserable, in capital letters. At this moment, Zhang Yi understood instantly. Why was it that Luo Shan rescued Zhou Yiming alive in his previous life, but in the end he only got the reward of being an assistant to Zhou Yiming? He couldn't call Zhou Ming rescued at all. All we can do is find Zhou Ming. In his ghostly state, he is waiting to be rescued. Coupled with this is the special nature of the return passage to the Qinhu Beast world. It would be impossible for Luotian to return on his own. In his previous life, he should have hugged the boss's thigh before returning from this world of ferocious beasts with Zhou Ming. Zhang Yi saw the two of them shivering and almost dying of fear, but he had no intention of revealing their identities out loud. Just looking at the two lumps squeezed together, a long-standing memory appeared in his mind unconsciously. Saying, "long time ago," refers to him in his previous life. In this life, that would have been just over 20 days ago. Soon after the horrific beast wave at Hanzhong University, his strength expired. At that time, the change in strength naturally made his team and people excited. At that time, there was even an official player in his team. Usurping the throne is a matter of course. Li Yaoping even used the Xuanwu Gate incident as an analogy, claiming that the position of captain should be occupied by the strong. In fact, Zhang Yi had already thought about leaving the team before that. Because that short-term team experience has allowed him to see a lot of things clearly. So, amid all kinds of cynicism and disdain, under Li Yaoping's alms-like attitude that he would give him a place to stay, he voluntarily left the team. Others may think that he is conceited and unable to recognize reality. You may also think that Li Yaoping is ungrateful and has gone too far. But most of them are just cleaning up the troubles in front of themselves, and no one can think of helping him speak. Only Tang Ke. He resolutely chose to leave with him. From college roommates to doomsday comrades. When Tang Ke didn't mind Zhang Yi's disappearance at all and still firmly chose to fight alongside him. At that time, Zhang Yi almost felt that Tang Ke was the life and death friend he could entrust with his life. And that seems to be the case. In those 2 days, he and Tang Ke literally went up mountains of swords and seas of fire together, and built up a lifelong friendship. In Conan theatrical version, Coffin of Cyanbe, I also talked about the word, comrade. That is the only existence that can entrust your back to the other party. Yuanzi also said in the play that she and Shaolin are such comrades in arms. Her back will only give Shaolin something to rely on. At that time, Zhang Yijun felt that he and Tang Ke were just that kind of comrades. However, that night, he and Tang Ke, just like Luo Shan and Zhou Ming at this moment, were shivering and hiding under a scrapped car. A level 6 ferocious beast, an earth-shaking armored bear, the kind that makes you feel the vibration when you walk. It had its own shaking footsteps as it approached the car where the two of them were hiding. Zhang Yi and Tang Ke were in the same state as Luo Shan and Zhou Ming at the moment. Fortunately, at that time, the earth-shaking bear seemed to be attracted by some other movement and changed its target. That time, the two of them really almost had a brush with death. After the disaster, when he regained his breath tremblingly, Zhang Yi felt that his comradeship with Tang Ke had become stronger. It was also at that time that he suddenly made up his mind and smoked the only blue turntable left on his body. That blue turntable is actually of junk quality. There are only 2 positive options on it. But one of the positive options is an extremely precious upgrade life card. Tang Ke had always known about the existence of the turntable, and he advised him very rationally to consider it carefully. So as not to draw water from a bamboo basket in vain, lose your wife and lose your troops. After all, the blue carousel lottery will take 100 years of life. After Zhang Yi completed that stroke, his lifespan was about to bottom out in an instant. And, They had no Dharma protectors at that time. If you draw out a terrifying beast, you may die directly. But at that time, Zhang Yi had already made up his mind. He advised Tang Ke to leave, lest he draw out the beast and make Tang Ke suffer as well. But Tang Ke was silent for a moment, with a firm look on his face. What he said was also very touching. We agreed not to abandon or give up. We are comrades in arms for life. Draw out the ferocious beast and carry it together. Pull out the life card and let's go crazy together. Is it possible that you want to draw the upgrade life card and leave me to develop alone? Of course not. In the beautiful future that Zhang Yi imagined at that time. If you can really draw the upgrade life card, you will become an official player. Then he will definitely help Tang Ke and let him become an official player as soon as possible. After that, they continue to fight side by side and grow together. Tang Ke's words, and Zhang Yi's own vision of a better future. He never thought that Tang Ke would stab him in the back. However, many things in this world often just don't develop according to your expectations. He actually pulled the upgrade life card from that junk wheel. However, there was no time to be happy. A sharp blade pierced him. The token in his hand was also quickly taken away. At that time, Tang Ke's movements were ruthless, but his expression was very complicated. He said, Zhang Yi, if you really pull out the ferocious beast, we will really live and die together and be comrades for life. But, you drew the upgrade life card. Sorry, this matter is too complicated. I can share adversity with you, but I dare not bet that you will firmly share wealth and honor with me. So, instead of pinning the hope of becoming stronger on you becoming stronger, it's better that I become stronger myself. In this world, the only person more reliable than that comrade who can be trusted to support you is yourself. Only when I am strong can I be truly fearless. I'm sorry, Zhang Yi. I will help you get revenge. Li Yaoping, Chong Jiaowei, etc., those ungrateful people will not end well. But, except for me, I will take your share and live well and live gloriously. All Tang Ke's future glory will be yours, Zhang Yi's. Even when saying goodbye, Tang Ke's words were still very touching. However, Zhang Yi was lying on the ground, feeling numb. At that time, there seemed to be only one emotion left in his mind. Shocking. It's more shocking than seeing a ghost in broad daylight. In fact, in his previous life, during his many years of apocalyptic life, Zhang Yi also encountered countless cases where people had sinister hearts and fought for profit. For example, Yu. For example, many people later. But he'd never been that surprised. Because he himself has never really trusted those people. Just like Li Xiao not long ago. They only have disputes because of their interests. There is almost no emotion involved. Only Tang Ke. This kind of betrayal by the person you trust the most is the most shocking and hard to let go. It's hard to let go of the fact that Zhang Yi was quite decadent for a long time in his previous life. Because in his mind, after he upgraded to an official player, helped Tang Ke become an official player. After that, the two brothers supported each other and grew up in this doomsday. Just as Tang Ke said, they were crazy together. But he couldn't figure it out. Why, Tang Ke, who could share adversities with him, was unwilling to choose the path of sharing wealth and wealth. But as Guan Ling said before, why, makes no sense. Zhang Yi's eyes fell on Luo Shan and Zhou Ming, who were shivering. After a moment of silence, he took the initiative to leave like the earth-shaking armored bear that once threatened him and Tang Ke with death. After a long time, Luo Shan and Zhou Ming were still breathing heavily and tremblingly. With the lack of vision, they had no idea what was happening, but they just felt the joy of surviving the disaster. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, moved to a hidden bush before sneaking into his private lair. Zhang Yi currently has two main goals. One is to raise the trumpet number, Zhang San. The other one is to continue to accumulate strength and further strengthen himself. His current strength, which ranks first in the combat power list, definitely beats Luo Changqing, who ranks second. But the Grand Guild has the foundation of the Grand Guild. Luo Changqing must have high-end life-saving props on him. Even if he drives the special wheel a few times, he might even have some regular killer props. Moreover, the next exploration of the Endless Sea and the Ferocious Beast base camp will also require stronger strength. While Zhang Yi was planning for self-improvement, he looked at his data panel again. Name: Zhongyi. Level: 10. Lifespan: 9,723 years and 128 days. Talent: none. Occupation: none. Skills: Heart of the Brave Level C, Poison Resistance Level C, Wings of Wind Level C, Hurricane Wave Level D. Status: invulnerable to all poisons 3 days. Power: 5,000. Physique: 5,000. Speed: 5,000. Spirit: 5,000. Combat power: 15 stars. Obviously, the upper limit of attributes at level 10 is 5,000. Ridiculously high. The conditions for using life cards to upgrade to level 10 are just lifespan is greater than or equal to 5,000 and all attributes is greater than or equal to 50. All attribute conditions required for upgrade. There seems to be a fixed difference of 100 times between the attribute upper limit of the current level, the player's level before level 10, the first 5 levels and the last 5 levels, are 2 stages. The upgrade conditions for levels 1 to 5 are lifespan is greater than or equal to 100 to 500 years and all attributes is greater than or equal to 1 to 5. The upgrade conditions for levels 6 to 10 suddenly become lifespan is greater than or equal to 1,000, 5,000 years and all attributes is greater than or equal to 10 to 50. The upgrade conditions for each level are equivalent to setting a lower limit for the strength of players at that level. The existence of attribute upper limit is equivalent to limiting the upper limit of strength of the current level. It can also be seen from this that the strength gap between players of the same level can be ridiculously large. Skip level battles are by no means uncommon. The relationship between attributes and combat power is basically the ratio of every 5 points of all attributes equal to 100 points of combat power. Of course, this ratio is not exact. With the same 5 points of all attributes, some people may only have 50 combat power, while others may have as high as 150. The gap seems to be related to factors such as combat awareness, skills, talents, occupations, etc. Among the real big guys, what matters is their combat power, not their level. Even some strong people, when all attributes are low, will have their potential discovered by big forces because of the ratio between attributes and combat power. Zhongyi's current total attributes are 5,000. Calculated according to conventional proportions, his combat power should be 100,000. And every 10,000 combat power will be counted as 1 star. So the equivalent value of his 15-star combat power is 150,000. This ratio is quite good. And 150,000, Zhongyi said without exaggeration. His combat power is most likely 10 times that of Luo Chengqing. Without considering any props, beat Luo Chengqing easily. But not enough. Zhongyi went directly to the public trading area for a walk. The trading area where he had a lot of fun before was now a bit dissatisfying to him. Because in the public trading area, the most advanced one is only the blue turntable. And there is no shadow of the purple turntable at all. Zhongyi thought about it and decided to increase his assets first to obtain the qualification to use the VIP trading area. So, he directly used the 20-year coins he earned from Liao Yuanfang to buy a large number of white and green turntables in one go. Of course, I also received another blue turntable. Taking the immortality pill drawn from the blue turntable, his lifespan once again increased to more than 14,000. Immediately afterwards, all the purchased white and green turntables were drawn. The longevity pills and teleportation talismans he drew were all put up for sale in the trading area. This move is absolutely arrogant. But as a cross-regional boss, what can he do if he is arrogant? Zhongyi ignored the sensation his move would cause in the trading area. He went directly to the forum to have a look. Only then did I discover. Sun Hao's extraction of the longevity elixir seems to have triggered quite a butterfly effect. He read several posts in a row before he understood the whole thing. The first post was from a core boss of the Lot Club, criticizing the Yinshuang Club for bullying the small and secretly sending someone to forcibly abduct and imprison a Lot Club player who could refine the elixir of longevity, forcing him to become the puppet alchemist of the Silver Frost Club. After this post was posted, various posts suddenly appeared, all of which listed how the Silver Frost Club acted arrogantly and oppressed the weak. All of a sudden, all kinds of rhythms take off. The Silver Frost Club seems to have instantly turned into an arrogant and domineering dark force that oppresses ordinary players. Even the Law Enforcement Hall, which was jointly mentioned by the Qingquan Guild and the Yellow River Guild before, was brought up again. A large number of players hope that the Qingquan Guild and the Yellow River Guild can uphold justice at this time, destroy the Silver Frost Club, and save the puppet alchemist who has lost his freedom. During this period, Sun Hao also took the initiative to post, saying that he voluntarily joined the Silver Frost Club and did not become a puppet. However, the majority of players who were led to the rhythm did not listen at all, insisting that Sun Hao was threatened by the Silver Frost Club, so he posted like this. The scene of players stubbornly talking to themselves reminded Zhang Yi of the cyber violence before the end of the world. The various verbal and written criticisms of Yinshuang Club also reminded him of the history of the Spring and Autumn period and the Warring States period. During that period of history, the princes were fighting each other. Before fighting with each other, they all liked to find an excuse to become a famous teacher. Imprisoning an alchemist and various tyrannical behaviors that are difficult to distinguish between true and false seem to be the legitimate reasons for larger forces to eliminate harm to the people and destroy the Silver Frost Club. Of course, during this period, Yinshuang Club also continued to post clarifications, and even Wei Lingshuang personally ended several posts. And just when this literary fight was getting into serious trouble, a firefighter appeared. Zhang Yi looked at the title of the post and couldn't help but laugh. Chong Jiaowei. Because I have been caught in the rain, I want to hold an umbrella for others. The title of this post is exactly the style of painting that Chong Jiaowei would have. Chong Jiaowei's appearance is indeed very high, but in fact she has not yet reached the level of beauty in the world. She has never been an empty-headed vase. Even when she was in college, her character was that of a particularly motivated and inspirational goddess. Including the period of falling in love with Zhang Yi. She is also not as keen on bags, jewelry, and cosmetics as other girls. The two of them most often date in the library. Chong Jiaowei is even a study account blogger. Her handwriting is beautiful. I often copy some beautiful and inspirational quotes and post them on Weibo, receiving various praises. The content posted at this moment continues her inspirational goddess style as always. Chong Jiaowei's writing is good. In the words of her Weibo fans, there is a calm sense of power in the gentle words. And the content of her post is also a kind of eloquent text, telling everything about her since the end of the world. She said that although she seemed to be very famous now and was treated like a guest by the 4 major guilds, but only she knows how difficult it was for her when she first mastered the elixir of longevity. At that time, she did not show off her ability to refine the elixir of life in a high profile. Instead, he carefully used the immortality pill to improve his strength step by step. She didn't act a little bolder until she was sure she was strong enough to protect herself. Then, he finally made his reputation bit by bit. She said that she has her own independent personality and she does not want to be a puppet alchemist controlled by others. So the path she took today was far from being as easy and simple as others thought. She even concluded, to achieve what we have now. The longevity elixir recipe that was lucky enough to be drawn only accounted for 1%. The remaining 99% is all due to her own efforts. Then she imitated Edison's classic quote and sprinkled a wave of chicken soup. The rise of doomsday depends on 99% hard work and 1% luck. Zhang Yi laughed on the spot and almost couldn't help but add a reply to her post. But that 1% of luck is far more important than 99% of hard work. There is no elixir for longevity, why don't you try again? But the laughter is the laughter. Zhang Yi was not surprised at all when he saw these remarks. Because it was the same in previous lives. After he became an official player, he saw Chong Jiaowei flaunting her efforts and dedication in public more than once, and trying her best to weaken the help of the longevity pill. It's the same now. After those inspirational remarks, Chong Jiaowei said again. It was because she had experienced it herself. So she understands better than anyone the difficulties of being an alchemist in the early stages. Because she had been caught in the rain, she was willing to hold an umbrella for others. She is determined to form an alchemist alliance and protect all the alchemists in Zhongcheng unconditionally. Of course, she also hopes that all alchemists can take the initiative to unite. Let there be no more puppet alchemists in the entire Zhongcheng. These remarks naturally aroused strong praise from alchemists from all walks of life. Although only Chang Jiaowei can refine the immortality pill. But there are still some other alchemists in Zhongcheng. Most of what they refined were detoxification pills, rejuvenation pills, status pills, attribute pills, etc. Although it is not as precious as the immortality pill, it is still a common elixir for players to fight monsters and upgrade. Of course, in addition to inviting ordinary alchemists, Chang Jiaowei also specially invited Sun Hao, the core figure in this hot event. She hoped that Sun Hao, as the second player in Zhongcheng who could refine the immortality pill, could join the Alchemist Alliance as soon as possible. Of course, if Sun Hao is really threatened with imprisonment by the Silver Frost Club, then she hoped that Yinshuang Club would let Sun Hao go. And with Chang Jiaowei's righteous and awe-inspiring post, the majority of players naturally criticized the Yinshuang Club even more fiercely and asked Wailing Shuang to let Sun Hao go free as soon as possible. It can be said that public opinion is completely on Chang Jiaowei's side. Including Sun Hao himself, everyone was a little moved after reading Chang Jiaowei's post. He even began to doubt. Could it be that he was simply deceived by Wailing Shuang? Chang Jiaowei is not a cruel person. On the contrary, Wailing Shuang was the one who fabricated lies to slander Chang Jiaowei. The purpose is to lure him into the Silver Frost Club. He said that he tried his best to protect him. But the real purpose, shouldn't it really be imprisonment? Wailing Shuang naturally saw Sun Hao's wavering. She was so angry that she was about to say something. Sun Hao seemed to have received some message from a friend. After pondering for a moment, he directly said, I appreciate President Ling Shuang's kindness, but I have thought about this matter carefully. Chang Jiaowei invited me to join her Alchemist Alliance with such great fanfare. You shouldn't blatantly kill me, right? If I really die because of the Alchemist Alliance she created, wouldn't that be like a slap in her face? Furthermore, what President Ling Shuang said before, Chang Jiaowei may have a dirty hand on other lucky people who refine the longevity pill. This is just your one-sided statement without evidence. Quote. Wailing Shuang's face froze obviously. Sun Hao continued. Despite the background of the Doomsday game, the so-called public opinion will not have the same influence as before the Doomsday. But now the entire forum is denouncing the Silver Frost Club. President, you don't understand the meaning behind this, do you? If I continue to stay now, I'm afraid it will be detrimental to your Silver Frost Club. These 2, 3, every point made Wailing Shuang speechless and difficult to refute. Her face was ashen, and her silver teeth were almost broken. Obviously it reminds me of my time in college. She is like this too, she can't beat Chang Jiaowei every time. This time, Wailing Shuang gritted her teeth, obviously still not wanting to let Sun Hao go. She was struggling with what kind of words she should use to make herself look more reliable than Chang Jiaowei. However, Sun Hao has already made up his mind and cannot listen to advice at all. Even when he said those words just now, he could still speak kindly. At this moment, he suddenly said, I have already said this, if you, President Ling Shuang, still refuse to let me go. Is it true that you are planning to let me serve as an alchemy puppet for your club, as public opinion says? Wailing Shuang took a deep breath. She finally figured it out. She went to great lengths to send someone secretly to pick up Sun Hao in the center of the city. At this moment, my heart has completely turned to Chang Jiaowei. Wailing Shuang can still find a way to deal with those voices of condemnation. But Sun Hao couldn't think of it herself, she really had no choice at all. After thinking for a while, Wailing Shuang closed her eyes and finally compromised. Okay, you are a noble alchemist. You have the freedom to choose. But I hope you don't think that I am the kind of villain who slanders Chang Jiaowei. What I told you before, I hope you will retain a little doubt. Finally, I hope you will post and ask Chang Jiaowei to pick you up in person at her club, and ask her to reply and swear to publicly say that she will ensure your safety. These conditions were not difficult. Sun Haodang nodded in agreement, and then posted a message asking Chang Jiaowei to pick him up in person, and replied to the post vowing to ensure his safety. After Sun Hao, the central figure in the hot topic, posted his post, he naturally became popular very quickly. Immediately afterwards, he received a reply from Chang Jiao, I don't know what Wailing Shuang from the Silver Frost Club said to you, but don't worry. In this post, I am willing to promise in front of all official players to do my best to keep you safe. But if I want to pick them up in person, I'm afraid I'll have to wait until I come back from the world of ferocious beasts. Sun Hao has a very fond impression of Chong Jiaowei because of his post about, I have been caught in the rain so I hold an umbrella for others. Dang Ji replied, it doesn't matter, I can wait. But at this time, Sun Hao, Wailing Shuang, and Zhang Yi, who was eating melon, didn't know. At this time, Chong Jiaowei had not yet entered the world of ferocious beasts. She just arrived at Qin Lake. Yes, suburbs, Qinhu in Qinhu Park. At this time, Zhang Yi listed a large number of longevity pills for sale in the trading area, which shocked the players and triggered a crazy discussion in the forum. Almost instantly, it replaced the issue of Sun Hao's ownership and became a new hot topic. Chong Jiaowei lives up to her name. She has a cool temperament, like the mysterious moon goddess. At this moment, his eyes fell on the mobile phone dedicated to the birth chart. A pair of water eyes are like melting ice and snow, with a sense of coldness. With no expression on her face, she sent another message to Tang Ke. I just got accurate news. Tang Ke replied, what? Chong Jiaowei. Zhang Yi, he is still alive. Accurate news. Zhang Yi is still alive. Tang Ke, like the other 3 presidents of the Zuyu Guild, was still looking at the riverside pavilion at the moment, looking at the river beach in the distance. When he read the news, he suddenly tightened his fingers on the phone. Speaking of which, Tang Ke actually regretted it. After all, we are comrades who share weal and woe together. Just when he stabbed Zhang Yi in the back and turned around to develop on his own. He also had feelings of regret and guilt, feeling that he was worse than a beast and sorry for Zhang Yi. However, people will not live in guilt forever. This may also be some kind of psychological principle. A person who makes a mistake, in order to alleviate his guilt, there is a high probability that you will continue to beautify yourself. At the same time, he vilifies the victim and summarizes a set of logic that can make him feel better. This makes your mistakes seem excusable, legitimate and reasonable. It's not your fault even if you use bandit logic to force it. After all, human nature is selfish and self-interested. So does Tang Ke. As time went by, he saw the world of official players, and gradually grew up in the end of the jungle. The guilty feeling of being sorry for Zhang Yi naturally faded away. He felt more and more that he had done nothing wrong. Wrong, it's Zhang Yi. It was Zhang Yi himself who failed to adapt to the doomsday environment in time. After completely changing his mind, what Tang Ke regretted became another thing. He regretted not eradicating Zhang Yi effectively at that time. His knife only stabbed Zhang Yi in the lungs. Even if he just left it alone, in such an environment, Zhang Yi's chance of survival was extremely slim. What's more, after the blue carousel lottery, Zhang Yi's lifespan has also bottomed out. In such a situation, there is almost no possibility for him to turn around, and he will not pose any threat to Tang Ke. But, if it were now, the more mature and cold-blooded Tang Ke would experience the betrayal all over again. He should be able to handle it more perfectly. Really. Because he wasn't ruthless enough at the beginning. Now an unexpected situation occurs. Zhang Yi is still alive. If it were just the news that Zhang Yi is still alive, Tang Ke may not take it seriously. The key is that now, the mysterious man who ranks first in the airborne combat power list and level list is also named Zhang Yi. Although at present, judging from an absolutely rational perspective, the mysterious Zhang Yi should be a cross-regional boss. There was no way he could get along with the Zhang Yi he knew. But Tang Ke had an uneasy premonition for no reason. This doomsday game has made many people increasingly believe in fate. At the same time, there is a psychological law that has been repeatedly mentioned by many players. Murphy's Law. The more you think that there is a very small probability event that will not happen, it will happen. Tang Ke took a deep breath. His attitude this time was obviously not as calm as before. He was about to reply something to Chong Jiaowei. On the other end, Chong Jiaowei took the initiative to send another message. He was previously, as you may have guessed, working as a tumor bug at the Lot Club. Last night, he joined the Lot Club Death Squadron and went on a mission to find someone in Qinhu Beast World. Tang Ke felt a little relaxed when he saw the word, longevity bug, in this passage. But then he thought of something, his eyes moved, and he asked. You just said in your reply to Sun Hao's post that you were in the world of beasts. Could it be the world of beasts in Qinhu? Chong Jiaowei. Yeah, I just collected some information and am ready to go down. About the mysterious boss who is ranked first in the airborne combat power list and the level list. If I guess correctly, you should have the same uncomfortable premonition as me. Tang Ke lowered his eyes. After a moment of silence, he suddenly replied calmly. Premonition. Don't you think that Zhang Yi, who lands first on both rankings, will be the Zhang Yi we know? You don't call this a premonition, you call it psychological factors. Don't you still have nightmares every day about Zhang Yi's ghost seeking your life? Tang Ke looked very relaxed when he said these words, and even had a sense of teasing and ridicule. But only he himself knew that he was not at ease. Chong Jiaowei didn't know what Tang Ke's mentality was. She was silent for a moment and then replied. Whether it's a premonition or psychological factors, I have to confirm it myself. Tang Ke laughed. Confirmed. Killing people to suppress words, right? Chong Jiaowei didn't come back. Tang Ke held the phone and suddenly remembered that when he stabbed Zhang Yi in the back, he had sincerely made a promise. He said that he would help Zhang Yi get revenge. Kill Li Yaoping and kill Chong Jiaowei. But actually, none. The reason is also very simple. A white immortality pill that Chong Jiaowei concocted at random was more important than his promise to a dead man. And Li Yaoping also found a good backer. Naturally, Tang Ke would not quarrel with them over a dead person, or even someone he killed with his own hands. He put away his mobile phone and looked deeply into the distance, quietly waiting in his heart. The result of Chong Jiaowei's confirmation. Soon after, Tang Ke was called to a meeting by Luo Changqing. It was about Zhang Yi's sale of a large amount of longevity pills that sparked heated debate. That is not an artificially refined immortality pill, but a longevity pill produced by the turntable. If it's just 1 or 2 pills, that's it. The key is, the number is ridiculous. If I guessed correctly, he should have drawn some special option from the special turntable. What special option can be used to mass-produce the longevity elixir produced by the turntable? This quantity is simply more than what Chong Jiaowei refined. Could it be that he was also refined? Refining the immortality pill produced by turntable, are you kidding me? Several big guys, you and I were discussing each other word by word. I quickly selected one from all the impossibilities, one that was slightly more logical. Luo Changqing frowned and thought for a moment, tapped his fingers on the table, and quickly came to a conclusion. Perhaps, he drew the elixir of immortality of special quality from the special turntable. And after mastering the special elixir formula, the longevity elixir he refined has the same effect as the one produced by the turntable. This explanation seems reasonable. Ji Yutang smiled and suddenly glanced at Tang Ke. If that big boss can really refine the immortality pill produced by the turntable in large quantities, should our guild change the partners for our cooperation with Chong Jiaowei? Tang Ke was a calm man and his expression did not change at all. Sure enough, he heard Luo Changqing's calm voice again. It's not a big deal if we change our partners. The cooperation with Chong Jiaowei will definitely continue. Even if she really builds that alchemist alliance, her future status in Zhongcheng will probably be immeasurable. This, inspirational goddess, is indeed not simple. In contrast, the mysterious Zhang Yi. Before Luo Changqing finished speaking, Cheng Yang, who looked a bit naive, added another sentence. That mysterious Zhang Yi, will he do something dirty to Chong Jiaowei? When Tang Ke heard this, he felt a strange feeling. Zhang Yi, kill Chong Jiaowei. Even if it's just another person with the same name. It also gave him the feeling that fate has its own ingenuity. Luo Changqing paused, but did not answer the question, but continued his previous topic. This mysterious Zhang Yi suddenly put up so many turntable quality immortality pills for sale. He probably wants to increase his worth as soon as possible and obtain the qualification to use the VIP trading area. Plus he took the initiative to ask about the special turntable before. I guess he must have consciously wanted to acquire something. The other 3 presidents also recognized this and nodded. Public trading area, the environment is harsh. The real good stuff is basically in the VIP trading area. while the other three presidents were thinking. Luo Chengqing didn't know what he thought of, but suddenly used his exclusive horoscope to contact Qian Yang of the Zuyu Guild. Go and buy all the purple carousels in the VIP trading area. Qian Yang is the person responsible for purchasing and recording materials at Zuyu Guild. When I received this news, I was suddenly shocked and quickly replied. But boss, the quality of those purple turntables is rubbish, and the price is ridiculously high. They are not worth buying at all. Luo Chengqing, just listen to me. Qian Yang, okay then. After giving this order, Luo Chengqing looked at the three presidents and continued. In chat channels and forum channels, many players think that Zhang Yi crosses the endless sea across regions. But I think the possibility of this is extremely low. Although he may indeed be ridiculously strong, after all, he quickly landed at the top of the level list and combat power list. But, crossing the endless sea by just one person, I think it's impossible. As for his teammates, if he really traveled across regions with his teammates, wouldn't any of his teammates be on the combat power list and level list? These words once again caused the other three presidents to think deeply. Luo Chengqing continued his analysis. No matter what method he uses, the cost of crossing regions is probably not small. So there should be a reason why he chose to cross regions. Or, he has very important relatives in Zhongcheng. Either, crossing regions can bring him huge benefits. In other words, he can't survive in his original area. This last guess is the most outrageous. But they heard the three of them thinking inexplicably. Tang Kei's eyes moved and he took over the words. With his strength, if he really can't survive in the original area, then he's probably got to the point where everyone is shouting for him to be beaten. Luo Chengqing and Tang Kei looked at each other and nodded slightly. So is my gut feeling. This Zhang Yi, if he can accomplish cross-regional feats, must be a ruthless character who cannot be ignored. If I guess correctly, he should come to Zhongtan for an appointment before 0 o'clock today. When the time comes, you. Luo Chengqing glanced at the three people. Cheng Yang nodded solemnly. Tang Kei was thoughtful. Ji Yutang laughed lightly. We are not stupid. However, Luo Chengqing narrowed his eyes at Ji Yutang and emphasized, I feel relieved about the two of them. You are the only one. Don't ever think of testing those weird abilities of yours on that Zhang Yi. You have the means to save your life, so how do you know that he doesn't have the means to kill him? After hearing this warning, Ji Yutang's smile faded a little, and he responded again, I'll just stop causing trouble then. Zuyu Guild here has many speculations and preparations for cross-region Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, who is in the lair space, naturally doesn't know. He purchased some more furniture and simply decorated his lair space. In fact, the nest space is not very big. With a single bed and a set of tables and chairs, it is basically quite crowded. But that's okay. He also has a green quality space watch. There is still enough storage space. While enjoying the feast, Zhang Yi speculated in his mind. The boss who used the lair space to rob auction treasures in his previous life should have upgraded his lair space. Otherwise, staying in this lair space for a few years might be more uncomfortable than going to jail. In jail, at least you have fellow inmates with you. There was so little space, and there wasn't even anyone to talk to. Staying alone for too long makes you go crazy. As for the upgrade of the lair space, if there is a chance in the future, maybe we can go to the city of 10,000 races to inquire about it. After enjoying the big meal, Zhang Yi took a simple bath. After that, he lay down comfortably on the bed and checked the trading area again. When he listed the cursed carousel for sale in the trading area before, the message area under the trading entry was almost entirely filled with curse words, which was unsightly. However, this time, Big Brother, are you the Zhang Yi who airborne into the cross-regional ranking list? I am your long-lost biological sister. My brother Zhang Yi has a very nice singing voice. What boss? What brother? You guys are so shameless. Dad, don't be deceived by them. I am your long-lost daughter. Dad, this doomsday game is too difficult. The baby can't live anymore. Can you transfer some living expenses? Oh no, transfer some longevity pills. Wow, QAQ. The guys upstairs are probably bigger than the bosses, but they actually have the nerve to pretend to be girls. It's really eye-catching. Opening square bracket ? It's bigger than Boss Zhang Yi. What are you implying? Quote. Of course, in addition to all kinds of professing relatives and kneeling and licking, there are also people who ask him why there are so many longevity pills produced by the turntable. Some people also asked him why he came to Zhongcheng across regions. Some people also asked him if the price of the immortality pill could be cheaper. Or ask him if he can barter. Zhang Yi simply scanned the barter replies. However, there is not much interest. So he basically didn't reply and started scanning the carousels in the trading area again. However, during this sweep, he discovered a problem. The various colored carousels that were previously listed for sale in the public trading area do not necessarily have higher prices with higher color grades. After all, the front options on the blue dial are indeed more advanced, but correspondingly, they also cost more life. The white turntable only needs to pay for 1 year of life. As far as the current supply and demand market is concerned, there are also people who are willing to spend a year of their life to gamble on the garbage carousel. But spending 100 years gambling on the blue crap wheel, even among the powerful men on the longevity list, no one dares to waste their lifespan like this. Therefore, the price of the previous blue turntable was even lower than that of the white turntable. Only if you have excellent positive options such as upgraded life cards, elixir recipes, etc., the price will be slightly higher. But now, perhaps it was because Zhang Yi's previous acquisitions directly disrupted the trading market. Nowadays, the price of junk quality blue turntables has obviously soared. Zhang Yi frowned slightly and checked his trading account again. The large amount of longevity pills sold has made his current net worth exceed 10,000 years of coins. The level is also level 10. Meet the usage standards of VIP trading area. At this time, go to the VIP trading area to take a look. However, he discovered that there was not even a purple turntable to be found in the entire VIP trading area. And the blue turntables listed for sale, no matter how good they are, the price is not low. Zhang Yi frowned and thought for a moment, then simply made an anonymous sale in the VIP trading area. The transaction entry is displayed as anonymous, white immortality pill perfect quality times 10 if and only if purple turntable times 10. After completing this, he briefly purchased a few more blue carousel draws, and then left the lair space. However, this time out of the lair space, the figure suddenly appeared, startling several people not far away. Guan Ling was on guard for a moment, and he almost stabbed him with the fiery red spear in his hand. When she saw him, she was stunned and said in surprise, "Teleportation talisman, what danger did you encounter?" Indeed, Zhang Yi's sudden appearance looked very much like he had been teleported using a teleportation talisman. He did not answer, but quietly glanced at the three people beside Guan Ling. Guan Ling no longer bothered about why he used the teleportation talisman, and directly introduced. "These are the 3 helpers I found, all official players. This," she pointed to a short man with dark skin and dressed in black. "His name is." The thin, dark man passed directly over Guan Ling and said first, "My name is Zuan, the ancestor of ancestors, Seifen. If you read faster, you will make money. You can call me the god of earning." Zhang Yi didn't know how good this earning god was, but he was also shocked by his name. He shouted to save his face, "Zuanshan." Zuan's face darkened, but his skin was already dark, so it was not obvious that his face was dark. Guan Ling added while suppressing a smile, "Zhongshan is the best among the official members of the Blood Swallow Club. He has passive skills that are resistant to poison, and he also has skills that are targeted at poisons." Zuan had a sullen face and said nothing, looking like he didn't really want to talk. It seems that his name was not changed intentionally using the name change card. Guan Ling raised his hand and pointed at another tall, thin boy wearing glasses. "This is the god of learning, Shang Qinghua. He was the top scholar in Zhongcheng's science field the year before last." "What a great guy." Shang Qinghua pushed up his glasses, his expression quite cold. Guan Ling continued, "He is also a formal member of the Blood Swallow Club. His level is not high, but his strength is good. He masters a very powerful fire skill." Zhang Yi nodded. When Guan Ling pointed to the last one, he glanced at Zhang Yi with a vague gaze, and then said calmly, This Du Yuan's is an official member of your lot club. Du Yuan's looked Zhang Yi up and down and took the opportunity to answer, your name is Zhang Yi. You are a member of the lot club Death Squadron. When these words were asked, the three people looked at Zhang Yi with strange looks. Zhang Yi nodded. Du Yuan's frowned again. You'd better change your name when you have time. Zhang Yi shrugged. Obviously, Guan Ling couldn't directly tell her about snatching Liao Yuanfang's teleportation talisman. The look he gave Zhang Yi just now made him hope that he wouldn't talk too much. Zhang Yi naturally wouldn't talk too much. Just then, a tight voice suddenly emerged from not far away, shouting stiffly. Zhang Yi, Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi glanced over, knowing that is where Luo Shan and Yiming are hiding. But Guan Ling and others don't know. They tensed up instantly and followed the sound and approached carefully. After approaching, Guan Ling was the first to realize, it's Zhou Ming. She quickly rushed over and pulled out Luo Shan and Zhou Mingpa who were hiding in the thorn bushes. Both of them were covered in poison and wounds, and they looked extremely miserable. Luo Shan is okay and can still make sounds. However, Zhou Ming was already in a coma. Guan Ling hurried over and gave Yiming a rejuvenating and detoxifying pill. At the same time, he couldn't help but cursed Luo Shan. Don't you have a BGM speaker? Why don't you use it? There is BGM in reply mode. Luo Shan almost cried when he heard this. He was so wrong. As soon as I teleported into this world of ferocious beasts, I rolled down a hillside. This is all in the dark, I can't see anything at all. I don't know where the BGM speaker went. I was groping around all the way, and I don't know why I got poisoned. But fortunately, I didn't touch the speaker back, and I touched the corpse of Zhou Ming. I don't know what Zhou Ming's condition is now. When I first touched him, he could still respond. I didn't know he was Zhou Ming. Now, I don't know how long it has been. Anyway, Yiming is out of breath. He is probably gone. I'm so unlucky. Luo Shan said this intermittently, and it was obvious that he was really angry and aggrieved. Guan Ling was speechless after hearing this, but he did not hesitate to hand Luo Shan the Ming dynasty and the ice silk fruit. After taking it, Luoshan regained his vision and could see his surroundings clearly. When he saw Zhang Yi, he felt like he was seeing a relative. He almost rushed over and shouted, fellow, and his eyes welled up with tears. However, seeing the appearance of several big bosses next to Zhang Yi, he instantly became honest again and did not dare to say anything more. After Guan Ling fed Yiming 2 pills, he simply fed him another artificially refined white longevity pill. When an injured player takes the immortality pill, it will also have a certain recovery effect. Sure enough, after taking the longevity pill, Yiming's condition finally improved. When he slowly opened his eyes, Guan Ling fed him the abdominal aphrodisiac and ice silk fruit again. After waiting for a while, Zhou Ming was finally able to see his surroundings clearly. When he saw Guan Ling and the 2 members of the Blood Swallow Club, he instantly became energetic. Guan Ling, Zuan, Shang Qinghua, where is Wang Shuiyan? I want to see Wang Shuiyan. The Green Bay Group. I'm going to destroy 18 generations of their ancestors. I want them to die badly. Quote. Obviously, when he saw the people from the Blood Swallow Club, Zhou Ming instantly felt confident. At the same time, he was so angry that he almost lost his mind. His eyes were red with anger. As soon as he recovered, he immediately started clamoring to settle the score with the Green Bay Group. Guan Ling pressed his brows and explained patiently, the Green Bay Group has been destroyed. You are now in the world of ferocious beasts. Wang Shuiyan did not come in because of something. A world of ferocious beasts. Zhou Yiming looked around, his face turned pale, and the arrogance on his body also weakened a lot in an instant. But soon, he still frowned and said, Wang Shuiyan. Why doesn't Wang Shuiyan come? Is there anything more important than my safety? Quote. Guan Ling was silent. She has to be responsible for the tide of beasts you drew out. Zhou Ming wants to say something more. Guan Ling interrupted directly. The situation in this world of ferocious beasts is somewhat special. Let's find a way to take you back now. Zhou Ming himself is actually not stupid either. It's just that when I was a star, I was praised too hard and was held high for too long. I no longer know how to respect others. It can also be installed in front of the lens. But some things that are engraved in the bones are difficult to change. He looked at the faces of Guanling and others, then he shut up and said in a low voice, "Okay. I hope you can escort me back safely as soon as possible." This tone. Both Zhu and Shang Qinghua nodded expressionlessly. Du Yuan's expression was a little subtle. However, considering that this pretty boy had a backer and Wang Shuiyan was still a lover, he didn't say much. The group decided to go back to the swamp to see the situation. Along the way, Luoshan looked everywhere on the ground and found his BGM speaker. His depressed mood suddenly returned. However, just as he was playing silly music while holding the lost speaker. But found, outside the swamp that had calmed down, there was a pile of human remains. That's, he swallowed hard and said in a shocked voice, "I saw, that's the Lot Club's uniform suit. Liao Yuanfang gave it to them when they went on a mission." At this moment, he and Zhang Yi were wearing suits like that. However, among the wreckage, many of these suits were torn pieces. Luo Shan's face turned pale, as if it was only then that he finally realized the cruelty of this doomsday game. And that so-called mortality rate. It turns out it's not a cold number, but each real, living life. Among those corpses, there might be Zhang Peng, Li Xiaod, etc., who were teammates with him before. Zhou Yiming realized something, his face turned pale, and his arrogance became less arrogant. Guanling and others looked as usual. Especially, Guanling was in a better mood without seeing Liao Yuanfang alive. After a brief discussion with a few people, she felt that the threat of those highly toxic gases was quite great. If it caused an explosion, it would be dangerous if they stood near the swamp and set fire. It's best to stay away. But if you want to stay far away, the attack range of Shang Qinghua's fire skills is not enough. After final discussion, Zhang Yi proposed to use archery to set fire remotely. There happened to be a compound bow at Luoshan. However, everything is ready, everyone stays away from the miasma swamp. Zhang Yi stood upright and was about to draw his bow and shoot the rocket. The arrow was fully drawn on the string, but his eyes suddenly looked towards somewhere in the woods. Guanling also turned his head and looked at it, wondering, what's wrong? Is there someone plotting again? Zhang Yi frowned and thought for a moment, then shook his head slightly and returned his attention to the matter of burning the swamp. Other side, quite far away from Zhang Yi and others, there is a towering ancient tree. Chang Zhaoyi's back was pressed against the trunk of the ancient tree. Her cold face was slightly stiff, her heartbeat was pounding, and her chest was rising and falling violently. At the same time, there seemed to be a voice buzzing in my brain. Zhang Yi, he is indeed alive. And yes, live well. In Chang Zhaoyi's heart, there was a feeling that she couldn't distinguish at all and couldn't figure out. Just, from a distance, he watched Zhang Yi raise his hand to tighten the bowstring. Her eyes suddenly froze, and an inexplicable thought came to her mind. She once copied a sentence when she was a SAW blogger. That was a lyric she copied to the senior high school students as an inspirational goddess. I never thought that the lyrics of "Reunited After a Long Absence" would be so apt when applied to Zhang Yi. Goodbye, the young man draws his bow fully, not afraid of time and wind. Chang Zhaoyi had liked Zhang Yi. After all, according to her personality as an inspirational goddess, she was originally not suitable for falling in love. Now that we've talked about it, it's naturally because we like it. She liked Zhang Yi's stance very much. Like the green pines that are still straight in the cold winter months. From head to toe, the word, clear conscience, seems to be written on it. That unique temperament gave him an indescribable charm. It was true before, and it is true now. Chang Zhaoyi pressed her back against the tree trunk and tried to calm down her complicated emotions. Then, she took out her mobile phone and sent another message to Tang Ke. If I don't go back alive, then, he should have died at the hands of Zhang Yi. On the other side, in the Wangjiang pavilion, when Tang Ke saw this sentence, his pupils suddenly shrank. However, he still had a strong expression on his face. The tone of the reply also seemed casual. How to say? Chang Zhaoyi pursed her lips. I saw Zhang Yi. Tang Ke waited anxiously, and for a long time he didn't see Chang Zhaoyi describing it to him. Finally, he couldn't wait to ask. Then what? Then, Chang Zhaoyi didn't reply. In Tang Ke's heart, he had the kind of extremely bad premonition that he had had before. At this moment, it becomes more and more intense. His heartbeat suddenly accelerated. It was an uncontrollable, inexplicable uneasiness. Tang Ke quickly tightened his grip on the phone. After closing his eyes, he suddenly stood up and looked towards the river in the distance. On the other side of the river beach, the top officials of the 4 major guilds were stationed together. There is a ferry parked on the river. About that mysterious endless sea. When the apocalypse first came, there were many stupid people who didn't understand the situation and tried to escape from the apocalyptic Zhongcheng. And those stupid things have been confirmed. The rivers, lakes and seas have become passages to the world of ferocious beasts. If a person jumps in, he will indeed be transported to the world of ferocious beasts. But if you are sitting on a boat, you will not be teleported. So this time, the exploration of the endless sea launched by the 4 major guilds to level 10 players naturally involves the use of ships. What is parked there at the moment is a ferry that is about to leave. There are already many level 10 players gathered above. However, this is only the first batch. Just like the club's exploration of the world of ferocious beasts, it will be explored in several stages and in multiple batches. The older the batches are, the more they are like cannon fodder. But at this moment, Tang Ke, who held his cell phone tightly, suddenly dodged towards the river beach. At the same time, he sent a message to Luo Changqing. I am ready to directly participate in this batch of endless sea exploration. Luo Changqing is handling some guild affairs. When I received the message, I instantly looked like an old man on the subway looking at his phone. He directly replied with 3 question marks. Tang Ke explained casually. The group of individual players are not that easy to fool. I heard that the Qingchuan Guild and the Yellow River Guild both sent powerful level 10 players to participate in the exploration. In the current situation, Zuyu Guild is indeed the strongest, but its credibility and appeal are not as good as those 2 major guilds. This kind of nonsense can only be used to deceive children. Who is Luo Changqing? The Tang Ke he knew was not the kind of selfless person who would consider such illusory things as the guild's credibility and appeal. After a moment of silence, Luo Changqing said decisively and firmly. Tell me the truth, why? Tang Ke thought for a while and finally replied. Zhang Yi, who dropped into the ranking list. There is a certain possibility that he is someone I know. Luo Changqing's eyes nearly popped out when he saw this sentence. You didn't tell me he was an acquaintance of yours earlier. You kept us guessing what kind of behavior this mysterious boss would have. But soon, Luo Changqing also reacted. Do you have a grudge? Tang Ke, an irreconcilable life and death feud. Luo Changqing's face turned ugly instantly. He is thinking, if that Zhang Yi really had a grudge against Tang Ke, will he be angry with the Moon Zuyu Guild because of Tang Ke? Or even be angry with him? And that Zhang Yi didn't respond to the solicitations from the other 3 guilds. Only one replied to him. Although the surface is a special turntable. But will it, when he comes for an appointment, is it when he comes for revenge? Luo Changqing only felt that his whole body was not well. I wish I could just grab Tang Ke and torture him severely. However, before he could ask again, Tang Ke replied to him. You don't have to worry too much, it's not necessarily the Zhang Yi I know. Because the Zhang Yi I know does not cross regions. If you still want to know about his character, etc. I can only say that before I forged a life and death feud with him, he had a pretty decent personality. But now, I don't know. Okay, no more talking. I hope we will have the opportunity to meet again in the future. These words sounded like a farewell. Indeed, this thing is simply a modern version of the wind rustling and the water is cold. Once a strong man leaves, he can't come back. The first group to explore the endless sea, the danger behind this is definitely higher than the first group of death squads to explore the world of ferocious beasts. Originally, Luo Changqing saw Tang Ke saying that the Zhang Yi he knew did not cross regions. I'm still wondering if Tang Ke is overthinking. But now, just thinking too much can scare Tang Ke into risking his life and exploring the endless sea in advance. This means that in Tang Ke's heart, the chance of exploring the endless sea is greater than the chance of surviving from that Zhang Yi. So, did Tang Ke think too much? Or are all the players in Zhongcheng thinking wrong? The so-called cross-regional boss. No cross-region at all. So how did he get to the top of the ranking list? Luo Chengqing frowned deeply, feeling increasingly nervous and uneasy. Tang Ke didn't know if his choice was wrong. Perhaps, he simply thought too much. Perhaps, he would die in the endless sea because he scared himself. But, along the way, his intuition had saved him countless times. This time, he had a very strong intuition. Tell him that danger is approaching. Zhang Yi's sighed. The flaming arrow shot from the string in the direction of the swamp. Luo Shan is like a background presence in this team. The only thing that made him feel more relieved was that Zhang Yi was there. But after such a short period of time, he suddenly discovered. That's not right. Guan Ling and Zhang Yi's tone of voice. This is not the attitude of a big boss towards the weak at all. And now, Zhang Yi's arrows can shoot so far. As the arrow shot through the air with a fierce momentum, Luo Shan finally realized something belatedly. Zhang Yi, such a short time. He seems to have completed the transformation from cocoon to butterfly. Luo Shan was deeply shocked at the same time. The flaming arrow shot through the sky accurately towards the miasma swamp in the distance. Just as Zhang Yi and others suspected. That highly toxic gas is indeed flammable. There was even a loud boom. Sure enough, it caused an explosion. And this kind of explosion is not just one, but one after another. In an instant, the entire miasma swamp was filled with explosions and fire. Even though Zhang Yi and others were so far apart, they felt waves of residual heat rushing toward their faces. At the same time, all kinds of birds and beasts in the woods also flew away and fled. In addition to birds and beasts, there are also some poisonous insects. For a time, the entire forest outside the swamp fell into chaos. Guan Ling's face turned slightly pale. While paying attention to the explosion over there, he hurriedly gave instructions. The explosion is getting bigger and bigger. Let's retreat quickly. In addition to Guan Ling, Zhu and others certainly felt it too. They all shouted, back off, in a chaotic scene. Chang Jiaowei, who was hiding behind the towering ancient trees further away, was also thinking about retreating before the group of people. However, when she looked over, she found that among the group of people, Zhang Yi is missing. What's going on? Zhang Yi, where is Zhang Yiren? A string in Chang Jiaowei's mind tightened instantly. Nervous, uneasy, fearful, she has a visual enhancement skill, and her eyes are extremely uneasy now, looking around in the chaos. However, all those insecurities and fears. After all, the promise was fulfilled. She only felt stiff all over. The back of my head was suddenly hit by a chill. At the same time, it was a devilishly gentle voice that she once admired but now sounded frightened. Honey, are you looking for me? Bang, bang. Chang Jiaowei's heart beat heavily and forcefully. It's not jumping down, but upward, as if it's about to jump out of your throat. At this moment, her whole body was tense. It seemed that the person standing behind him was not his former boyfriend. But the god of death comes to the world. Zhang Yi. Yes, it's me. Zhang Yi's tone was still very relaxed, like an old friend reminiscing. Of course he was relaxed. In this doomsday game world, whoever is strong has it easy. Chang Jiaowei swallowed her throat slightly. She tried, slowly turning her body. Zhang Yi didn't yell to stop moving, nor did he directly pierce her head with an arrow. This made her feel somewhat relaxed. After she turned around, Zhang Yi's crossbow arrow was pressed against her forehead. Chang Jiaowei was stiff again, but her face still looked calm and calm. The image of the goddess has not collapsed. Her cold eyes met Zhang Yi's eyes steadily, and her stiff voice softened unconsciously. Sure enough, you noticed me just now. Zhang Yi raised his hand to hold the crossbow and smiled. Yes, it makes me very happy. I didn't expect that your mobility is still so amazing. I still vaguely remember that you once said an inspirational chicken soup. As long as you have courage and action, there is nothing impossible in this world. Really, Zhang Yi's voice really sounded like an old friend reminiscing. There were no accusations, no curses, and there seemed to be no hatred. If it weren't for the cold, sharp weapon between the eyebrows. Chang Jiaowei almost thought he still loved her. Her eyes moved, and she suddenly looked at him affectionately. Do you still remember? But Zhang Yi, the bravest thing I have ever done in my life is to pursue you. That doesn't fit my personality, but it fits my heart. She said it very affectionately. The expression on his face wasn't even asking for mercy, it wasn't weakness, but a trace of stubbornness. Zhang Yi couldn't help but sigh. Chang Jiaowei is indeed Chang Jiaowei. Even at this critical moment of life and death, she remained arrogant and self-possessed. Still like the cold moon god, he will never bow his head, cry, and beg for mercy like an incompetent mortal. Zhang Yi was not surprised either. To be honest, if one day Chang Jiaowei suddenly cried and knelt down to beg for mercy, he was the one who was really surprised. He had to wonder if he had been snatched away. He smiled and said something sinister. I thought the bravest thing you ever did was to steal the elixir of longevity. Chang Jiaowei's face was slightly stiff. But Zhang Yi knew that it wasn't because of his words. But because, what's going on? Why can't I hold the teleportation stone in my hand? He directly told the reason why Chang Jiaowei's face was stiff. Sure enough, the woman's pair of dark eyes suddenly looked at him again. Zhang Yi held the crossbow in his right hand, and flipped his left hand over to play with a silver-black compass. Chang Jiaowei pursed her lips and said it clearly, compass in the Forbidden Sky realm. It is a compass that can render all spatial means in a certain area ineffective. Blue quality, small area. But it's enough. At least Chang Jiaowei will not be allowed to use space props to escape like Li Xiao did before. Chang Jiaowei glanced at the compass and then looked at Zhang Yi. Their eyes met, and her eyes were complicated. You guessed that I will come. Zhang Yi Xiao, you have already found Sun Hao. If you haven't found me yet, then are you still Chang Jiaowei? At this moment, Chang Jiaowei's eyes suddenly flashed with emotion. After a moment, she closed her eyes. That way, it still looks like a cool and stubborn beauty. When she opened her eyes again, she smiled suddenly. If you really knew me that well, do you think I came here to kill you? Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. Oh, otherwise you wouldn't want to say that you are here to rescue me, right? He suddenly looked at Chang Jiaowei up and down with strange eyes for a few seconds, and then smiled suddenly. Don't you still want to say that you stole the elixir of longevity for me? Chang Jiaowei pursed her lips. Still no begging for mercy. She seems to always have her character and pride. After a moment, a cold voice, as if stating the facts, slowly said. I'm not the only one who knows about the pill prescription you took out. Although at that time, no one knew how to use the prescription. But just by looking at these 5 words, elixir of immortality, you should know how charming it is. Just the 2 words, immortality. Even Qin Shi Huang, the only emperor of all time, was confused by this. Do you think it was really a good thing for something like that to remain on you at that time? Ha ha, ha 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 ha, Chang Jiaowei said it very emotionally. However, Zhang Yi smiled happily. Not the kind of smile where a great revenge is taken, but the kind of, just simple, very cheerful, very sincere smile. It was as if a child had heard a joke, or seeing a clown perform an acrobatic stunt. A very heartfelt, happy smile. This kind of laughter. Chang Jiaowei's face stiffened slightly. She wanted to say something more. Zhang Yi slowly stopped laughing, but his eyes were still a bit relaxed and comfortable. The eyes he looked at Chang Jiaowei were even gentler. It seems that there is really not much hatred. He imitated Chang Jiaowei's affectionate tone and smiled slowly. Thank you for making me happy even before you died. In return, I must tell you, I do know you quite well. Even to a certain extent, you may know it better than yourself. Chang Jiaowei, you are not some cold moon goddess. No matter how bright and beautiful the appearance is, how flawless it is. In your deepest subconscious, you must also know. How dirty is the real you? Tisk tisk. Zhang Yi sighed falsely. He sighed. I have to clean up the filth in the world again. Said. There was a pop sound. That crossbow, straight up, from the center of Chang Jiaowei's eyebrows. Based on Zhang Yi's attributes. Unless Chang Jiaowei has a physical constitution of thousands of points. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive at all. But what surprised Zhang Yi was. The arrow shot out without any hindrance. What about the shield? What about life-saving measures? None. Oh, until Chang Jiaowei's corpse turned into a strange black gas. After the black air dissipated, a coin was left on the ground. Only then did Zhang Yi finally understand why the process of killing Chang Jiaowei was so easy and smooth. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.